What's up, everyone, and welcome to the book report. We're getting ready to talk about the second chapter of the Book of Boba Fett, the Tribes of Tatooine. Molly, how are you doing today? I feel
I'm
like
doing
we've been doing our own things all day. You've been reading Fallen Star. I've been working on videos.
Oh yeah, I just got to some stuff in Fallen Star that I do not appreciate, so I won't talk about it cuz spoilers, but yeah.
Well, I'm sorry about that. We've brought in for show and tell two of our friends, the original and the best Star Wars Minute. Please welcome Alex and Pete.
Hello.
Hello
Hey,
there.
how are you guys doing?
Doing all right. How are you? Good to see you guys.
Good. How are you, Alex?
Oh, I'm doing all right.
What's the
Alex is-
cat's name? Because I love that.
Cat's name is Tic Tac. All our pets are named
Aw.
after snacks and food and things like that. So,
Perfect.
yeah. Thanks for having us on the show.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, if anyone out there watching has never seen the show, what we basically do is we're going to chat about the episode for 20 or 30 minutes, and then we're going to start taking questions from you all in the chat. If you want to leave a super chat, that'll get it in the queue, and we'll start there with those. But Alex, Pete, how have you been enjoying the Book of Boba Fett so far?
I good. I had a kind of real roller coaster of emotions before it started that I was excited about it and then I was like, "Nah, I don't need that." And I let it go in my heart. And then when the first episode rolled around, I watched it. I was like, "Oh, you know what? I really like just getting to kind of play around in Star Wars for a half hour, 40 minutes every week. It's just a fun place to be." And I felt that way about the first, a little bit less so about this one. I guess we'll talk about it some more. But that's I'm still glad that there is one, and I'm excited that there's I had missed this. I had forgotten that it's a nice thing to just have a weekly Star Wars thing to look forward to on your TV.
Yeah.
It is nice. Yeah, to have like new live action stuff happening again.
Yeah.
Pete, if it's possible, could you turn your microphone up just a hair?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm quiet.
It's all right.
I have to get it. It's off screen. That's why. There you go. Now we're talking.
Alex, how are you enjoying it?
I'm enjoying it pretty good. I mean, we have our own little show, or we do our own Book of Boba Fett review over on our Star Wars Minute feed, and I feel like I guess it's implied in our mandate that we're supposed to be nitpicking these things because that's what we do. So, but when you step back and you go, you know what? There's a Boba Fett TV. We get Star Wars every week on TV now. It's easy to sort of take that for granted that this is now just a regular thing that happens all the time. So, I mean, I have my quibbles with it, but overall, I think it's a much better, doing much better than I ever would have expected if you had told me there was going to be a Boba Fett TV show.
Yeah.
So
I was surprised by today's episode. I was a little underwhelmed, I think, from I definitely was a little underwhelmed from last week. And then this week just turned it all around for me. I'm like, okay, I feel like I get what the show is doing a lot more. And it made the first episode better in retrospect, I think. Molly, what did you think?
I liked it a lot. There was a lot of like tropey stuff, which is to be expected. All of Star Wars is pretty tropey. But after it was all said and done, I really enjoyed it, and I liked the longer runtime a lot too. I think it really allowed you to like settle into the episode before it was over.
Yes.
Yeah.
That felt really good to wake up and see that it was 52 minutes. I was like, oh, thank goodness.
I feel Alex. I feel the same way you do, except the exact opposite.
you prefer the shorter?
Well,
I feel like
Alex,
I liked the first episode better, and then this episode I was like, it got a little too tropey for me. It just kind of like, okay, it turns into like Dances with Wolves the second half, and like so. I'm much more interested in the new stuff than I am in the how he got from the Sarlacc pit to giving her the washboard abs. So
I am with you there. I liked the flashbacks a lot more this week, but I am still more interested in the present day stuff, just because we basically know where the the flashbacks end.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still fun to watch.
Maybe it's just the way it's divvied up that I feel like the present tense stuff, or such as it is, the more futurist, the more future stuff, the
more
stuff
recent,
closer,
the more recent
Yes.
stuff, as opposed to the farther back stuff.
the more BY versus the less BY, is I feel like that's not coming together. And there's only little bits and pieces which I like. If it's building towards something, which we'll see, but I feel like it's not bad. I like seeing the world of Tatooine and everything, but it feels like it needs to be going somewhere versus it's we Alex and I were just talking about it before that it's like a little video gamey that is like, go to this person and then talk to them. They'll tell you to go to this person. Then you'll have to unlock this thing. And then it needs a little more intrigue for me in the future stuff. Whereas the flashback stuff, it went on in some part. Like I like the setting and I like what's going on there. And I want it to, like Molly, like you just said, it's tropey, and that's Star Wars is built on trope. Rebellions are built on trope, but the
new trope.
Yeah. I want them to step away a little bit. I want to discover more new things, and so I don't know. I'm getting a little bit of both on each side of it, but I want more, and that's why I'm glad there's 5 more to go. So
It did feel like today, especially, they were checking a lot of boxes where it absolutely felt like Dances with Wolves, and then I was like, oh, and they're also doing a train heist. It's just like, let's just do all these Western things real quick.
Training montage.
Yeah. Lots of training montages.
Yeah, literally training and also training.
Yeah.
Well, I want to. Oh, go ahead, Mom.
I also feel like we spent a little bit too much time in the flashback for this episode, but I did still enjoy most of it. But yeah, I'm with you there. I want to see more of like what's happening now.
I was hoping that we would go back to the present day at some point. But man, I really dug all the flashback stuff this time. So I wanted to get into everyone's favorite scenes. I asked Pete and Alex, just like last week. I've got a second grade book report template, and one of them was to draw your favorite scene. And I'm like, I love that. So were you guys able to draw anything?
I did.
Yeah. I'll go first because mine is going to be worse than Alex's. He's a professional cartoonist, and I'm a doodler.
Okay, maybe we should make him go last.
Yeah. So I drew from the flashback stuff. I don't know if you can see here. I drew when the guy goes backwards.
I'm really impressed.
I love that.
Good.
That just kind of
that's really good, Pete.
But hold that back up.
All right.
That's better than what I got.
I'm let Boba Fett smile.
Yeah, Boba's teeth are very distracting to me.
Yes,
they are.
I need a
Okay,
manicure,
I'm glad
Those
it's
are
not
some
just
very
me.
John Molo looking Tusken Raiders, though. I gave it tip my hat to you.
Thanks. I as you well know, Alex Robinson, I think they're very hard to draw. So
They are. They are.
But yeah, that was I love that. I'm a sucker for a little comedy bit, and so when they set him up and he's like, "All right, now go," and he goes backwards, I was like, "That's for me. That's my favorite."
I'm very impressed with you. You really downsold your drawing abilities.
Smart.
Yeah.
But let's save Alex for last because yes, he is the professional.
I think pizza's already better than mine, so don't hype mine up too much.
Okay, well, Alex, let's go ahead and see yours then.
It wasn't. I kind of cheated because my favorite scene was the scene with the huts.
Yeah.
But that was too complicated to draw, so I went with Boba Fett having his vision quest on the tree.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
So,
Look at the lizard coming out of his nose.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally.
So wasn't my favorite scene, but I might do this as a more finished drawing. So keep an eye out
really
there.
cool.
Some variation on that.
That's really cool with the eyes and like the vision of Boba Fett in the armor up at the top.
Pete, you mentioned that there were supposed to be Jawas in those trees.
Yeah, in the concept art from during the closing credits, it definitely looks like there's Jawas coming out of
They
the
had
trees.
a bunch of little red eyes.
Yeah.
In the vision.
I didn't think Jawas grew on trees. That's funny.
That's what where the gaffy
They're actually-
sticks come from. You have to go
I'm
to a
sure they
Jawa
could
tree.
climb trees. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's yeah. It seems like something they put in the concept art and just didn't follow through on. But this
Oh,
is
yeah, look.
from the end credits.
There they are. Maybe they're just surrounding the trees, they aren't actually coming from them. But
Maybe
I didn't think.
maybe that's what he saw, the floating red eyes in the tree. That's what he saw while he was high on lizard juice or whatever. But really, there were just a bunch of Jawas standing around like, what's this guy doing hugging this tree?
I wish every now and then they would have cut back to like what it was like in real life, and it's this naked guy.
Yes.
I was looking at him like,
Yeah.
what?
They're not even Jawas. It's just like the blinking lights of other people's houses, and he's like, "Look at all the Jawas," and they're like, "Oh, all right."
Sir, this is a space Wendy's.
Right.
I kept thinking of that scene in Pick of Destiny where he eats mushrooms and he like goes on that trippy adventure, but it does keep cutting back to him in real life, just like falling through trees. And it's
Yeah, it didn't occur to me until just now, though, that this continues the theme of magic trees. Like
Yeah.
Luke going into the magic tree, and now here Boba Fett is going into the magic tree. So.
Yeah.
Tropes.
Tropes and trees and tribes and
Trees, tries, and anyway, yes.
Yeah.
So let's see your drawings.
Yeah, Molly, I want to see yours. Molly came in, looked at what I drew, and was like, "Oh, fun," and then went off and drew her own. And I was like, "Show me yours," and she said, "No." I don't
We'll
like
save
that.
it for the show. It's content.
I wanted your genuine reaction to this. So I also really liked the scene when they were just starting to get trained on the speeder bikes. But especially when Boba was trying to imitate the Bantha. So I drew the like a Bantha.
Yes, nice.
It's
Oh, that's not.
he looks so happy.
I don't know how to draw
was.
bald, like poorly drawn characters.
I want Pete's Boba and your Boba to team up and have crazy adventures together.
Totally. The adventures of Boba and Boba.
Happy adventures together. They both look very excited.
Yeah.
I-
I was
I
like, I'm going to
just-
do anime eyes, but then I was like, oh, I can't do anime hair, so this just looks strange now.
Well, you don't have to do anime hair.
Yeah.
Can
I
I-
just literally tweeted a GIF of him riding the thing like a bantha on our thing a half hour ago. He's so happy about it. And those
So
teeth.
happy.
It's kind of dawning on me. This episode was quite funny. It had a lot of comedic moments in it, a lot of it surrounding the speeder bike. But I found myself laughing through a lot of it, like the sassy receptionist at the mayor's
Totally.
office. Molly and I got a kick out of him. I thought that the Tusken warrior, when she got onto the train and was just kicking ass, she would still do funny stuff in the middle of it. Like when she popped her head up and just kind of looked around and then went back into the train. I was like, that's good. That's funny.
Yeah.
They should have done a thing where her head was popping out of one window and then her head was popping out of one window, like a time lapse thing where her head is monkeys.
Right.
Or to talk about the speeder bikes more, I laughed really hard when he was like, "This is a gift for you. I brought these back," and then like it cuts and shows all of the Tuskens just beating the bikes apart.
Yeah.
Flinging the things behind them.
Classic.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll share my drawing here. This is for the second week in a row. It's not Max Rebo, but it is a like cameo appearance from someone else. But
Cameo.
I was so excited
He's
for
so angry.
Black Chrysanthemum to show up. I thought that was sick. I'm always a fan of publishing characters getting to come in to live action now.
Big
Anyone that
time.
makes that, like, yeah, it's so much fun. That was easily my biggest reaction for the episode.
Now you drew him wearing, it looks like underpants. Does he wear underpants on the show?
Well,
He's
they're
got like a little
overpants.
bit of a guard there.
Huh.
Hmm.
I wonder
Like
why
more-
he wears pants and none of the other Wookiees wear pants.
I don't know that they're pants.
Uh-huh.
I
Just
wouldn't-
front, like a
I think
We
you're
can find out real quick.
He's gotta guard his undercarriage,
giving too much credit to the pants there. They're not pantsy. They're just it's like a cod piece almost, right? It's like
Well,
a
this
little-
isn't from the show, but I mean,
Yeah.
he's got like a
Oh.
belt with a yeah.
Yeah.
got it. It's more protective than it is. It's more
Right.
to protect his privates than it is to stop him from marking up the furniture with
It
his.
might just be ornamental. I don't know.
Yeah.
yeah.
Or it could be like Batman, like that's his strongest area, and so he wants like you're supposed to shoot or punch towards that. Meanwhile, he's just going to grab you with his claws. You're going to be like, "What's up with that cod piece? What's going on? Why is this? He's got a funny belt." And then boom, you're already dead.
I was also happy to see him show up, having read the comics, because I know you can tell sometimes when a character shows up and you're like, oh, some people know who this is. I don't know who this is because it's from some media I don't consume. But that was the one time I was happy. I was like, yes, I'm just nerdy enough to get that one.
Well, I thought they did a great job with not just him, but the Pikes and the Tashi Station stuff where, he just comes in and they treat it as like, this is a big, scary Wookiee. And Boba Fett's going to have to fight this dude. Yeah. You don't have to know who he is. Like, that's all you need to know.
Right.
Yeah.
But
I didn't know who he was. And I was like, oh, all right. I get it. It's cool what they're doing. And then did some research, talked to Alex, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. So that's a real character. Well, real. But it's funny how the gap from introducing a character like that in another medium, and then having a live action version is shrinking. So it's so satisfying on some level, but it's also like imagine how. I guess still we're waiting to see some live action versions of characters that we liked from the EU stuff and all this other like just. You would sit there and kind of daydream about this stuff, and now it's just like, oh yeah, that character you liked, they're in a thing in a a little while later, and because they're so it's like there's so little of a barrier almost between what they're. It's a concerted effort, and there's so much Star Wars content being produced on different levels that you can have, a character show up in live action pretty. See,
corporate synergy.
All for the corporate overlords, right there. But like something like that would totally, if I was, I'm not saying I didn't enjoy it now, but if I was younger and I was totally into like reading the comics, and then the character that I like from the comics showed up in live action, relatively soon, I'd be like, oh yeah, look, it's. But there's still a waiting list of those characters that from other things that I think I'd want to see, but I'm not the big. I'm not a huge consumer of all the modern stuff, so I'm pleasantly surprised when it happens.
Well, I appreciate they seem to be making wise choices, and Black Chrysanthemum is something I was like, I would figure he'd be pretty far down the list. He's like a C-list character. He's in the Darth Vader comics, the Dr. Aphra comics. He hasn't really been around in a while, probably because they've been planning to put him in this. But
I assume he'll come back.
Oh yeah.
It did seem like,
those Wookiee costumes aren't cheap. So if they put that much work into making that Wookiee costume, they're like, we're going to bring this guy back.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Like, he and Boba Fett are going to come to blows. It's got to happen.
He looked so good, too. Like, he had, like, crazy, like, yellow eyes. He looked very mean.
Yeah. And more, is it the most articulate face we've seen in a non-computer generated Wookiee, I think? I mean, outside of Lumpy. Lumpy had a very articulate face, but...
Sure. We still have yet to overcome Lumpy and how great he was on screen.
Yeah, I mean we're going to live with that burden our whole lives. So.
Yeah. The cool thing about introducing this character is that because they live for so long, he could be in the Obi-Wan series, he could be in the High Republic. Like they can have him show up anytime in the timeline. He could still be kicking around in the time of Rise of Skywalker.
Well, that's people are already wondering. In fact, we'll just go straight to a super chat real quick because Guiguio posed this question.
Sure.
Will we see Black Chrysanthemum in the Book of Boba or in Kenobi? Because they've made this thing, and we know I finally found it, and we know that they have fought before. Kenobi and Black Chrysanthemum, that was in the comics as well. So it's like, are we going to see that in live action or see something new between their history?
I mean, it's certainly, like you said, corporate synergy for them to take this character over here, plop him over here. Right. Remember me?
Yeah. I think he was in Spider-Man too. I think they had him as one of the alternate universes.
Spider-Man 2. Did I wonder how much of it is top down. Like there's a certain. I'm assuming that they're pretty, especially Favreau and Filoni and those guys have pretty fairly free reign. But I remember with the G.I. Joe comics and cartoons when I was a kid, that they're like, I found out that, you know, Hasbro would basically be like, okay, we need the snowmobile and this guy and that guy and the new Cobra base to be in this one, and then be like, all right, and they just have to write around that. So I wonder how much of that is just kind of like, okay, you know what, we should do a push with this character, and you know, it's not kind of corporate. There's creative, not purely corporate. We need to sell toys, but if there's a, you know, creative kind of groupthink going on where they're just like, all right, well,
Who's our baby Yoda for this series?
Exactly.
It's Black Chrysanthemum.
Exactly.
No, Max Rebo needs his moment to shine.
He does.
I want him to be in every episode.
Max Rebo's going to fight Black Chrysanthemum with the power of music.
Totally.
The organ.
He's going to do a dance off. I was a little bit. I feel like Max Rebo got a little bit too much light. The lighting on him was a little bit off. You know, it was like, all right, we don't need to see him like that. Like, put him make him a little shadier. Like, he looked cooler last time.
Yeah, less is
skin
more. Less
smoothing filter over him.
Yeah, I totally want to be in there. I just want him to be a little bit like maybe put him in an alcove or something so he can look more dramatic.
I feel like this time when they showed him, I was like, I can definitely see that that's a guy wearing it looked like a guy wearing a Max Rebo costume to me.
Yeah,
Right.
You know what I
it
mean?
looks like a cheap foam that you can see all the folds.
His head
and
was
stuff.
really pointy because the guy's head, you know,
That's part of the
so-
charm, everyone.
Yeah.
That's what makes Max Rebo great.
Yeah.
My
So
new
in
headcanon.
universe, I think of him as a guy wearing a suit. That's his
Because
appearance. So.
The real Max Rebo blew up, so this guy's been pretending
That's
to be
true.
Max Rebo and taking all of his gigs. That's the new
Oh.
headcanon for me.
If you
This is
play
fake
his
Max
songs
Rebo.
backwards, it says Max is dead. Max
Exactly.
is dead.
Oh
Max is
no.
dead.
I blew up Max.
To go to your point about whether or not someone else is saying like, hey, we're going to put Black Chrysanthemum in this, so you need to put him in the Book of Boba Fett. I doubt that. For some reason, I get the sense that they wanted the Hutts to have a big adversary for Boba Fett or Fennec or whoever's going to fight him. So my guess is that they made that like want known, and then the story group was like, hey, we've got this guy. Nerds will go crazy if you put him in there.
Right.
I think that tends to be what they do, is that they write the basic story and then they see what can fit in, what makes sense. Because I get that sense with Tashi Station and the Pike Syndicate as well. I hope that it's not. I kind of hope he's not in Kenobi, because then it feels like, yeah, it's too synergistic for me.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
they are trying to write around all this connectivity.
It knowing the people that are involved, it seems, well, not knowing them personally, but knowing who's doing this, it does seem very much like that kind of, because if you have this amazing toolbox of all these characters, you know, old and new to draw from, you know, why not? You know, like, I love it when they introduce new things and so, you know, that, but also like you do have this kind of vast, cool thing, and you can make the nerds freak out a little bit if you throw the, instead of just inventing a new, you know, tough guy character. Oh, throw this guy in there because people like him. Oh, great.
It's basically how they did Saw Gerrera in Rogue One.
Right.
They were writing that movie and they were like, we want this radical rebel leader. And they were like, hey, why don't we make it Saw Gerrera? Like that would work out.
Yeah, hit or miss. Well, speaking of which, we were also speculating. Can I talk about other fan service things in the
Sure.
Cammy and Fixer showing up,
Mhm.
and we were speculating as to whether either of them or both of them might show up in the Kenobi series. Although weirdly, they'd be younger than they were in the deleted scenes. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that
It's
makes more
tough
sense to me.
timeline-wise.
Yeah.
But
I think we saw something in one of the teaser trailers that looked like a sign that it was like Fixer's
Grill.
pawn shop or something like that. So like if he has like a little shop somewhere, then yeah, I think it's totally plausible that we see them again.
yeah,
Well, yeah, Fixer would be like Luke's age at that point in the Kenobi series, though.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
he'd be, what, 10-ish? 15, maybe?
So it could be, you know, you could see him. I don't know. I'm sure there is a backstory on his family at some point, right? Isn't he?
Maybe he's like the Matthew McConaughey of Tashi Station, where
There
he's
you
like
go.
much older and he still hangs out with all these high school kids, even though he's like 30 years old now and so on. So
That
Let's
it
go.
did make me a little bit sad. I was like, wow, they just never got away from even the Mos Eisley area or the Anchorhead area. Like they just lived there. They keep going to the same bar they've been going to for years and years.
Most people there, I think, live that life.
He
They're
hasn't even
there.
changed clothes.
Well, that's true. They need to hammer that home so we can all be like, oh, clearly that's Fixer's outfit. So I know that's Fixer.
11-year-old
changed-
Fixer needs to have the same clothes too.
Yeah, totally.
Luke only changed clothes when they were given to him. So like the stormtrooper outfit, the flight suit.
Yeah.
He didn't have any other clothes.
Yeah.
Maybe
It's-
Fixer will take up some of the Swoop Gang's clothes. Let's steal that jacket.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, why do they keep going to that bar if they're always getting? Because obviously it's not the first time that they've been harassed by Niktos. Because they're like it's not right. Like, well, why are you going here then? Like
They have one of those stamp cards, and if they get
Yeah,
one
that's
more
true.
sandwich, they get the
Yeah.
free one.
Free power converters.
I was looking in the background to see if there was some kind of sign or like plaque up saying like Luke Skywalker, these are the power converters Luke Skywalker never came to pick up on the wall or something where that even the locals would be like, but my experience is small town people don't like when you leave the big town and then they think you're too uppity. So maybe they don't like Luke on
too
Tatooine.
fancy.
They think he's too
like,
high.
oh,
He's
Mr.
too,
Big Shot.
Yeah.
I was
So,
looking
yeah.
for a Darklighter memorial. I was like, there's got to be
Mm.
something. Like Biggs went there too. There should be
Yeah.
a hologram or something. Like,
Oh, totally. They totally play up the Biggs thing in Tatooine, in Tashi Station and that whole area. Because he's, it's easier to memorialize him once he's gone. Oh, okay. Well, we can put up a big statue. He was a hero. Luke, Luke still, he's kind of a pain. He was, what does he think he's so fancy? But Biggs, he loved us and then he went away and died for a good cause.
yeah, they didn't even really like Luke. They called him Wormy, but everyone
Yeah.
loved Biggs.
Yeah.
Everyone loves Biggs. I'll
That's
go the
the show.
opposite. I'll say that they don't like Biggs or Luke because this is a very small conservative town. They don't like that these guys became rebels.
Mm.
Like you signed up for the Empire. That's what you were supposed to do, Biggs.
Mhm.
Anyway,
Mm.
not on my watch. That's my maybe it'll be an anti-Luke Skywalker sign or an
Mm.
anti-Biggs sign or something like that. So, anyway, I don't want to get political. Let's move on to something else.
I'm just gonna say it. The Empire's bad. Not afraid to say
Yeah.
that.
How about the Athorian appearance?
Yeah.
The Hammerhead. That's Hammerhead for you guys. I know you guys don't really know anything much about Star Wars. But,
The what?
Thanks for explaining that to them.
Yeah.
He looked great. I want to know how
Wow.
they made that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If
He had a-
it's all animatronic, if it's animatronic and puppetry, or I
mean,
don't know. It looks awesome.
They made Doc on Dar, and he doesn't look as good as what we saw today, but it's probably a similar model.
Is that different Athorian?
Yeah.
He's in Galaxy's Edge. They've got like a little
right. Yeah,
animatronic guy.
although it really is. I'm gonna say it's probably animatronics because I don't know what to believe anymore. I've gone from there's that period where it's just everything was like that looks fake, that looks CGI, and then I got it was that celebration. I've said it before that one of the Neil Scanlon panels where he pulled up the what's not 6'6". What's the guy with the eyes from Solo from the card
I think
table?
they just call him Six Eyes.
Six
Six
eyes.
Eyes, yeah.
That's why I can, not even like 6 E's or something like that. But when he was just holding it up and it was moving its eyes around and like looking and it's completely detached, it's just like a mask and a battery pack, and he's holding it and it looks fake, but I'm seeing it with my own eyes. So now I don't know what to believe, and everything that looks magical and fantastic, I'm like, oh, that must be animatronics.
I was kind of disappointed that the Hutts didn't they look super computer generated. I was hoping that if we saw Hutts in this, that some of it would be puppetry, but I think this was all CGI.
Will we ever? I'd love to see a live action Jabba again. I hope, or a live action Hutt anyway. Let's not limit it to Jabba, but
Yeah.
I think that's in the realm of possibility. I think the reason they didn't for this is because they were on the litter and people had to actually carry this thing, I guess. And I think the litter is important to the story and what they're trying to say. So they were like, let's just have these people carry some plywood and not 2 puppets with 5 people in each of them.
Mhm.
I'm totally
This is
picturing that
the-
though. because the people are wobbling around because they're being carried, and there's 3 in each. There's 6 people and 2 puppets being like, whoa, whoa. Somebody's like, hey, I got to smoke a cigar in here. Hang on.
What they should have done was have the people holding the litter, be the puppeteers.
Oh,
You know what I
man.
mean? So
Oh.
like, it's like
Totally.
Frank Oz and all those guys down there. I work in it.
But I think for close-ups, they could have switched to a puppet, but maybe
Yeah.
I don't know. We're asking a lot. We're already getting 2 huts
Yeah.
on a TV show, so
Right.
I'll allow it.
It would be a nice bit
they,
of ring
they showed
theory,
up and
though.
I was just mad immediately. Like, they're not puppets.
Right.
Mm.
It'd be a
Well,
nice
this
bit
is-
of ring theory if they did do a live version of it, a puppet version, and then people complained because it doesn't look as good as the CGI one, and then they're like, so they'd have to go back in, fix it.
This is the second time that they've like made it a point to be like, oh, we didn't hear your litter come in,
Mhm.
like referring to Boba Fett. I'm going to jump way ahead and say that in some future episode, Boba's going to team up with the Tusken Raiders and they're going to come into the town. That's going to be his litter. It's like,
I like it.
What
I'd
if they
bet
do
even
like a
money with
Trojan
that.
horse thing?
Mm.
Everyone will think Boba Fett's in the litter, and then
Hmm.
they'll open it up, and it's full of thermal detonators or something like that.
Or
yeah.
adolescent Tuskens.
Mm.
Yeah, I love that. It's almost like a running gag. Like, oh, sorry, I didn't know you were here. I didn't hear your litter. I didn't see your litter. Like, that's a good. And I love that guy too. The I don't think he has a character has a name yet. He's just still the major domo. But
Oh, yeah, I
he's
love
major
him.
domo, but he's great. Like the way he conveys everything, and that sense of disdain, but like blanketed within pomp and circumstance. Within the protocol. It's great.
Yeah,
one of my
I really
favorites.
like him. And I thought that seeing the litter, like they kept talking about the litter and making jokes about it. And then when you actually see it, I'm like, oh man, that is really crappy. Like just watching 8 or 10 people trying to carry 2 huts around. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's like what the mayor and Garsa Fwip, that's like the way they want to run things, is at the expense of other people. And I don't think they like that Boba Fett is not about that.
Mhm.
Yeah. Interestingly, he's the character that we once knew as the the most feared assassin is the kind-hearted one in this situation, which is
Yeah. And the mayor said as much. He was like, I heard you were just a bounty hunter.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Alex Robinson, you made a good point earlier when we were talking that like there's extra levels of cruelty to being carried on a litter when you have hover kind of ground effect technology.
Yeah.
You have ships, you have
Droids.
tanks, droids. You have so many things that this could be, but no, I want a bunch of living creatures to carry me around.
Yeah.
Man,
That's
I
a
didn't
good
even
point.
think about that. Yeah, that's
Yoda
That's
has
bad.
his little floating chair.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Come on. That technology exists. We know it does.
I think I would go for the Palpatine chair. Or was it Palpatine or New Gunray who has the
Newt.
crab chair that walks
Uh-huh.
around?
Yeah.
Palpatine has like a projector that
Like a
walks around on one
hologram
arm, but
thing, yeah.
but Newt's chair actually is on it, which is great.
Yeah.
If I could sit down and get carried around like that, sure.
What's funny about it is it's so impractical because it's so jerky. Like you couldn't like drink your coffee while you're on that thing because it's it's like being on like a 3-legged horse or something.
Wait, you talking about the
I've never
spider
been
chair
on a
or
three-legged
carried by a litter? Either way, I think being carried by a litter, you got to be a little bit herky jerky.
Mm.
Yeah. I guess if I'm carried by a litter, who cares? But like, clearly everyone's gonna kowtow to me. So no matter what I do,
Yeah.
it's, if you're in a crab chair, you still gotta.
You're not worried about having spilled coffee all over yourself if you're getting carried in a litter. You're like,
Yeah.
so what?
there's no one to yell at if you're in a crab chair. Like
Yeah.
the crab chair doesn't care. It doesn't have feelings.
Yeah.
Hopefully, maybe it does.
Well, before we get into questions, I wanted to talk about the vision quest that Boba goes on, that Alex
Yeah.
drew.
Mhm.
I just wanted to discuss what we think it means and where we see Boba going in the future because of it.
I
Hmm.
think. Well, I was predicting that our time with the Tuscans here is almost over. That we're going to have another kind of arc to him. And sadly, I don't project that it ends well. So I think part of it might be he's seeing kind of what the kind of the difference between his current his current lot in life with there's him remembering his history and kind of like I think it's basically it's going to tie together. He's going to go back into being more of that the Boba Fett from before. He's still obviously going to carry the lessons that he learned and the feeling of family that he got from the tribe here. But I think things won't end well for the tribe, and he's going to kind of bring that out of from the vision. All that coming together is going to lead to him just going back to being a little more hardened and go on his way within the next episode or two.
I hope you're right.
We'll see.
Yeah, I keep thinking like something terrible is going to happen to the tribe. And I'm just like, that's going to suck if it happens.
Yeah.
But so I know, Alex, you have a bunch of theories and stuff for
So do you.
the vision. One of the things that because I like really tried to pay attention to it the second time I watched it, and there's flashes of him kind of like stuck in the tree and like trying to get out, and it goes in and out of him being stuck in the tree and being in the Sarlacc pit, and then it cuts to young Boba Fett like looking at the helmet, and I have this theory that Boba Fett has to lose the armor eventually to really become who he's supposed to become. So I feel like him being trapped was like he's trapped behind that armor and like he's like he's got to bust out of that.
Like in the Tatooine in the modernist setting, like you think he'll lose the armor, just kind of like hang it up behind him and be like, this is who I used to be.
I think that like I'm talking like the end of the series, he's gonna hang up the armor and say like, this isn't me, this is he's always trying to, he's still kind of living in the past and like sad about his dad and whatever. We're all sad. It's like, come on, it's been a long time and he's still just like, I'm gonna impress my dad.
One thing I do like about that is that it kind of parallels, because The Mandalorian, a lot of the themes had to do with his relationship with his armor, between it being made of Beskar and him being like, oh, only Mandalorians can wear this and never taking it off. So that would be an interesting parallel to have Boba Fett's relationship with his, father's armor, I guess.
Well, I think it makes sense because I kind of feel like Din has taken over Boba Fett's spot in Star Wars, where I don't know if Jon Favreau wanted to make a Boba Fett show and then for whatever reason they said that he couldn't because they were going to do a movie or something. So instead he makes The Mandalorian and it's basically a Boba Fett show. But like that is now kind of the man with no name who leaves the helmet on all the time and is more mysterious. Boba Fett, like his mystique was opened up in Attack of the Clones and the Clone Wars. Like he became less the man of mystery. And I definitely think that this series is about him trying to reinvent himself. It's all wrapped up in his identity. Like I saw the tree as just a family tree thing, and then he's being suffocated by it. And it's just all about like this armor that was once his father's, and he just doesn't know who he is without it. And he had this near-death experience, and he's like, am I just a clone of Jango Fett like all of the clone troopers? Am I something more? And so I think right now he's trying to find out who he is outside of the armor, if he doesn't have that. And then maybe if all the Tusken Raiders die and he gets his armor back and he kind of regresses a little bit. Molly said something earlier today that I really liked, where he told Finnick that the dreams are back. So like at some point the dreams stopped. And now they're back. What's different? And it might be that he went and got his armor and he's kind of regressing back into old habits and stuff, where like he seems like he's doing pretty well with the Tusken Raiders. So
that's true. I hadn't thought about why. I understand narratively for us why he's having these flashbacks now, but like within the context of the show, that is interesting that like if the dreams are back, they were gone. Like when he didn't have the armor, maybe he wasn't having them because he had become start to become basically a new person. Was reinventing himself, and now that he is maybe exactly what you guys are saying, he's reinventing himself a little bit. He's going to move beyond the armor. I like that idea. I also
or maybe the lizard snuck in with him. Like the lizard is in the back to tank, and anytime he goes
Yeah.
in there.
Why is he in that back to tank?
Wait, is he?
Yeah,
That's
why is
what
he?
I said.
Why does he sleep in a Michael Jackson tank?
So I have another like wacky theory that like everything.
I don't think it's wacky at all.
Everything right now is all about presentation, putting on a big show, and like what things look like on the outside. So like the litter, the mayor, does he actually have any real power? Boba Fett wanting to walk around with the armor and show everyone who he is. But yeah, I don't think he needs the back to tank anymore. I think he's in there just not really for show, but like it's like he's trying to heal himself on the outside when he needs to heal his inside. Like he needs to emotionally heal himself. But
he's emotional back to.
Yeah, he thinks he still needs to be in there. And it's kind of like when people get on oxygen and kind of like if you're on oxygen all the time, it's hard to come off of it. So I think he might be a little bit dependent on the back to tank.
Well, I think it's all. I think you're right that it's like in his head where, like we saw him in the Mandalorian come in and just wreck stormtroopers, and we're seeing him in the flashbacks destroying those Niktos. Like he's fine, physically he's okay. So then he's in the present day trying to be a crime lord. And I guess he just doesn't feel right. And he's like, I need the Bacta. And it's like, that's not what's wrong, dude.
Yeah.
I like this too. Sensory deprivation. Like it's kind of a form of emotional therapy, I guess.
Also, hi, Xanthi.
Yeah.
I was wondering if, because they also flash back to Camino at various times. You see the Camino cloning facility. I was wondering if he had to do that because he is a clone for some reason. Like that was somehow because correct me if I'm wrong. Don't all the original clones only live to 10 years or something? Don't they age super fast and then die?
Well,
they just
because they're modified originally.
Right. But I was wondering if there was something about Boba Fett being a clone that they, something like that. But all these are good. Yeah, it's a sort of like.
Well, that brings us back to the thing that we were talking about earlier. Is why. Not only why the Bacta, why is he doing all of this? Why does he want to be in charge of Boba's empire, of Jabba's empire? Why does he want to be a crime lord? You know what I mean? Like he there were some people that he wanted obviously to take revenge on, but like it seems like there's an awful lot of bureaucracy and paperwork for this to happen. You know what I mean? Like why not just go like be like, hey, you know what, Hutts, you guys want this? Great. There's just a couple of people I had to take care of. I'll cut you in on everything, but let's work together and do this. Instead, he's just like, no, this is mine. I'm doing it. But like, why?
Yeah, something had to have happened to cause him to like start down this path and want to do this.
Right.
We were also speculating that it might have something to do with the Tuskens, like the spice that they stole. Like the Tuskens, the Hutts are going to take revenge and to kill the Tuskens, and then that's why he's like, I'm going to go in there, and this will never happen again to anyone.
Right.
I think that some of their discussion this week suggested that maybe he wants to help the Tuskens out, maybe help them get their land or power back or something along those lines. I'm also thinking that it's potential. He's just trying to leave a legacy. Like he had this near-death experience and he's like, if I had died, like what would have been left behind from me? So I'm thinking that maybe he's just, I know the underworld. And so like, this is the fastest way for me to get any kind of power and leave any kind of legacy. But yeah, right now, I do hope that's a question that is answered over the course of the show. Cause it's a fun story, but I agree. I'm like, what's your motivation right now?
It's true. All this, I'm tying all this together again now because something else that we talked about, the idea that he would, because the flashbacks to Camino and the fact that he wants to leave a legacy, the fact that he's dealing with, not wanting to necessarily be in the armor, be restrained by it, I think he definitely will have a son type of figure, either a new clone or a maybe the adolescent Tusken will follow him around. He'll survive, and he'll be the new Boba Fett. But essentially, like there's gonna be a Robin to his Batman. Besides Fennec's doing a lot of that right now, but he's gonna have he's got to have a son figure or a daughter figure at some point. I think, man, some child. There's not enough children.
Can we work Daniel Logan in somehow?
Why?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would love to see him as kind of. How old is he now, Daniel Logan? 30 maybe?
He's about our age, so yeah, mid-30s.
Yeah, so he's like, show me that Boba Fett.
The funny thing is, Daniel Logan is actually might be more, because I'm thinking of the timeline now, because Attack of the Clones...
Age-wise, he might be closer.
Yeah, because Attack of the Clones was like 25 BBY?
Boba Fett should be, I think, 42-ish at this point.
Yeah, and Morrison seems a bit older than that. Granted, he's been inside of a Sarlacc stomach.
He's been through a lot.
That might have aged him up a bit. And Tatooine, as we know, makes people age really fast. So
yeah, that's
two
true.
suns is what does it. So.
I don't know how he's not got his whole head should be sunburnt by now.
Oh, I know. Ridiculous.
He doesn't have any hair. It's just sun on it all the time.
Maybe when they cloned him, they did put in a little bit of Let's put a little SU. He didn't mean don't put in any modifications. He wanted him not to get sunburned, right? Come on.
Yeah,
it's the base package. It's free. SPF just built in. Come on.
I mean, the Tuskens, they know what they're doing. They gave him the robe. They covered, every part of him. And I was like, thank you.
I'm speculating that at some point in the future, we will see Boba Fett get killed in the armor, and then one of the Tuskens will eventually pull off their thing, and it will be Boba Fett disguised. That was actually like someone else, and he will have been dressed up as. Do you think we'll see naked Tusken flesh in this?
Not when you phrase it like that.
I'm kind of curious. Not completely naked, but like a face. I'm like, maybe.
Oh no, I was talking about their butts.
Yeah. I think Alex Robinson was surprised earlier. He wasn't sure that it was didn't realize that the badass warrior Tusken was a woman, and then it could she be?
I don't see gender. Sorry.
Yeah, well,
everyone's equal
it's
to
fine.
me.
I mean, they are wrapped up in stuff, but first of all, she's the new Boba Fett. This is what I was saying. Yeah, she's got that perfect air of mystery, and she's a badass who we know nothing about. That's what Boba Fett was for forever. So she's the new Boba Fett. I declared that. But
that's a good point.
Do you think that that'll be? Will she kind of transcend that in some way? Is she going to have? I hope that they don't, because again, there's a lot of plot tropes as well as genre tropes to fall into here. So you can, we were joking about Dances with Wolves, and it's like, oh, is that going to be that thing where they fall in love? Like, no, we don't necessarily want that, but I don't know. I'm torn because on the one hand, it's like if she is the new Boba Fett, keep her mysterious. Let's not learn more about her. She can go do her thing. Maybe she survives, and somebody down the road will write a new story about her, and it'll be like, oh, there's that Tusken warrior woman.
Let's end the series with her being swallowed by a big creature.
There you go.
I don't know that she is going to leave her tribe to be a bounty hunter, though. I don't see her doing that.
But if they're all...
Yeah, as much as they've been leaning into tropes, I'm expecting them all dying sounds likely.
Yeah.
Boo.
Yeah.
Boo-hoo.
Well, we've been talking for a long time just because it's been great discussions, but I want to go ahead and get into some questions from the chat. Blink, thank you so much for your question. Why do the creators of these shows hate Banthas? We've seen them get killed many times now.
I know, that was so
completely
sad.
agree.
Yeah.
It felt gratuitous this time.
And I was like, that one of those Banthas went down with one shot, and I was like, those things are pretty big. Like, you'd think it would take a couple of shots to take them down, but
you wanted to see the Banthas struggling to survive and them shooting it until it was
I want them to have a chance to survive one shot.
Yeah. Maybe it was stunned.
Yeah,
it's playing dead. It got shot, and it was like, oh no, it's really fine.
Oh,
None of them died
sad.
this episode.
I can't.
Banthas are known to do that.
I'm
Descendants
sorry, I
of
can't carry all your
possums.
stuff through the desert anymore. I got shot. Oh,
That reminds me, why did remember when the fish people, Boba Fett said, like, get going and get out of here? The town's like 2 miles away, and he told them to walk in single file. Why?
I don't know.
Oh, the pikes, yeah.
yeah.
Maybe just the fish people. Maybe just to
I was
see if
like,
they
what?
do it.
That's the way we do it out here in the desert.
I mean, it is, right? It's just meant to be a reference to,
Yeah.
saying people travel single file, but why would they want to hide how many pikes there are?
Yeah, it's weird. I feel like they almost had to just put it in there as a little token
Right.
reference to the.
I mean, at that
It-
point, I
it-
think he was actually trying to help them. Like I think he wants them to survive and get to wherever they're going to tell the tale of like what happened.
Yeah. I mean, and people are saying it's to hide their numbers, but it's like why do the Pikes need to hide their numbers? The Tusken
Yeah,
Raiders want to hide their numbers. It just it did seem like a weird demand.
And sending fish people out on a 4-mile walk in the desert, that does not seem like a humane thing to do.
Well, maybe they did
He
it
gave them
so
gourds.
that other Tusken tribes would see the tracks and be like, "Oh, it's probably just another tribe." And if they saw
maybe.
not
Yeah.
single file tracks, then they might go hunt them down.
Flipper prints.
Hmm.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
All right,
Molly solved it.
there you go.
Yeah.
Let's see. Next question comes from J Seed. Thanks for
Hey,
the
J
super
Seed.
chat. Sending you to hype and support from the back corner of Tashi Station behind the arcade machines. Thanks for the perspective on the Tuskens too from Scrimshaw. Hoping this helps get more Lego or shenanigans from Brian Ward. Thank you.
Thanks, JC. Shout out to Brian Ward who made this thumbnail and like a lot of our thumbnails now. All the good-looking thumbnails are Brian Ward's fault. So
And definitely go check out, was it yesterday's video that Scrimshaw did all about the Tusken Raiders? So yeah, it's good stuff.
We know eyeglasses exist in Star Wars. Do contact lens exist in Star Wars?
I don't see why not.
yeah,
Uh,
we've only seen
like
like
they would do. Yeah.
2
Although
characters that have
maybe not
glasses.
on Tatooine, you'd probably get sand in your eyes. You're bound to, if you take them out, there's going to get
It's
sand
everywhere.
everywhere.
Right.
It does get everywhere.
So maybe on other planets,
Yeah.
they're illegal on Tatooine.
Well, Robert, I'm just surprised we also haven't just seen like contact lenses that have like data or some kind of scanner in them or something like that.
Yeah, because we have the cyanide tooth. We know that
Hmm.
from.
Well, that was like an
Mandalorian.
electrical Zappia tooth.
Yeah.
If you bite down on it.
All
I
right.
don't know, the contact
yes.
lenses that give you data like almost seems too convenient for Star Wars, like too advanced. Like a helmet that can show you stuff is one thing, I guess, but then a contact lens is like,
Right.
I don't know why that feels out of place for Star
That's
Wars.
too far.
That's
A little
too
too-
far.
A little too sci-fi for Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thurl on Fiction, thank you for 2 super chats. The first one says, the grade for episode 1 is a B, grade for episode 2 is an A, and suggests everyone put their grades in the chat. And then says, like this dances with Tusken, Pikes, Black Kersantan, Fett 420. Thurl says the twins should be our new cosplay at DragonCon.
The huts.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Hut twins.
Okay.
That's
Have people carrying you?
Yeah, you gotta.
yeah, I don't hate that.
Yeah.
We'll get our friends to do that at DragonCon.
hmm Although we have to be brother and sister. That's.
Everyone thinks we are anyway.
Yeah, half the people in the comments are like, "Are they related?"
It is a Star Wars podcast, so
Yeah. So.
BK Wookie Burger on sale. Burger King Wookie Burger. Yeah, everyone's calling Black Chrysantan BK, which
Oh,
is
nice.
nice. I
I-
see people doing that on Twitter. And I'm like, good job avoiding spoilers.
I keep calling him Black Chrysanthemum. He's a flower to me. So precious baby flower.
you sound like his mom. Mom, stop! You're embarrassing me in front of the hut.
She named him Black
I'm a fierce
Chrysanthemum or like blue chrysanthemum.
Yeah.
And he wanted to keep the initials, but he changed it to sound more like cool.
Mm-hmm.
I just looked up, saw if there was a page for contact lenses on Wikipedia. There doesn't seem to be. There's glasses page, definitely. There's a thing on eyes, but not contact lenses. So
Uncharted territory. Keep that in mind, Jon Favreau. Let's see some contact lens stories.
I want Rhodian contact lenses. I want
Oh,
giant,
boy.
like that's, yeah.
Who has the biggest eyes of the human size characters? Not like the big fish in
Rhodians?
Rhodians
These
are
are
probably.
They have pretty big eyes.
Big.
You know who spends a lot on contact lenses is Wesley, the one who the land speeder.
Weoslia. Yeah. That thing has an unlimited amount of eyes.
And they're not even the same size.
Yeah.
No,
Oh my
it's
gosh.
gotta- you
Yeah, at
gotta-
least like the 6 eyes guy, they're all the same size eyeballs.
Oh, you know what's the biggest eyes? That fly guy in the cantina. He's got big. He's got big.
Oh, yeah.
Bulbous eyes.
the fly.
Oh.
There's the fly or the mantis. The fly has the flies
I gotta
are bigger,
tell
I think.
Yeah.
I gotta tell Adam Witt that we brought up Weoslia. He's gonna love that.
She
And,
buys all her clothes at the Jedi secondhand store. 'Cause she trusts just like Jedi.
Right.
Let's see. Darth Elsa 66. Thanks for the super chat. I like that they're basically making a Star Wars version of Lawrence of Arabia, Boba of Arabia, as far as the flashbacks go. I saw a lot of people point that out on Twitter. I have not seen that movie. Don't shun me off the internet, please. But
I haven't seen it either.
I've seen enough like people talk about it to see the connections.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I saw it a
Oh,
long time ago.
Long
Long
time.
time.
It's a long movie.
Long
It
time.
is.
Long
It is.
movie.
I envy all of you because it's great, and you look forward to the time when you'll watch it and you'll be like, "Oh yeah, that was a good movie." See, I wish I had that in front of me still. Yeah, our friend Song pointed out it's a lot like the origin of Jonah Hex, also the DC Comics character, where he's
Yeah, cinematic equivalents.
Ooh,
really.
yeah, I like
Jonah
that.
Hex, Lawrence Arabia, they're neck and neck.
not the movie, but the comic books. He's a similar thing where he's I think he was a Confederate soldier originally. They may have changed that down the road, but he's ends up kind of in with the natives for a long time and befriends them, becomes kind of part of the tribe, and then becomes a bounty hunter after that.
So this is a tale as old as time, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Tropes.
Tropes. Imperial
Ben
tropes have
Potter,
entered the base.
thank you for your question. Most important question, can I make a gaffy stick at Galaxy's Edge?
Ooh.
That should be next on the list, but I don't think they make them at Batu.
I don't think people want to put those lizards up. I don't think Disney wants people putting those lizards up their nose at Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah,
that would
it's
really
like
cheapen the process, I think. Lightsabers, we're all on board for that, but
Yeah.
let's keep gaffy sticks sacred.
although I want this. They should make little gaffy sticks that are like dental picks, because the dental picks have the little rubber tips at the end. They definitely, it seems
You
like
could
they're
just buy
missing
a
out.
toy. You can just buy one of the action figures and just use that as your little.
I could
'Cause
just buy a
weren't
bunch
those-
of sand troopers.
Weren't those
Tusken figures and do
originally
that.
to like clean the Banthas teeth? Or was that
Yeah.
the
Not
original
originally.
idea?
I mean, it was like, it's a multi-tool. It can do a lot
Yeah.
of things.
That's
Yeah.
true.
But didn't they showed that in the Mandalorian, right? Didn't they
Mhm.
show them cleaning the teeth and teeth? I like that.
Well, that's what I want. I want to be like a bantha. Is what I'm saying. Like a
Yeah.
bantha.
Although, because Ben brings it up and like building a gaffy stick at Galaxy's Edge, I thought that there were actually a lot of similarities between building a lightsaber and building a gaffy stick, where
yeah.
when you see the Jedi younglings go to the gathering on Ilum, they have to go through trials, and once they overcome those trials, then the Force like gives them their kyber crystal, which they then go to an expert who helps them build their first lightsaber. And I'm like, that's exactly what Boba Fett just did, except he was high.
It is strange that we've never seen someone building a lightsaber in one of the films or live action.
I'm sure it'll happen.
If you had asked me what will we see being built first, a gaffy stick or a lightsaber? I would have assumed a lightsaber. I would have bet $1,000 on that.
They almost did it in Return of the Jedi. It's in a
Yeah.
deleted scene, but even
But
then,
still.
all he's doing is like putting the last screw in.
It's not like
Yeah.
he built the whole thing there.
Mhm.
Right.
He brought all the parts with him and then just put it together in the cave for some reason.
You describing the Jedi Temple process and the thinking about all the things that they've done. I think we need a new season of Jedi Temple Challenge, but with the Tuskens. Just Tusken Challenge.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
They could do it outside. They could run around, do a whole.
I love that show so
Snort a
much.
lizard.
Yeah,
go on
snort
this
a lizard
obstacle
first.
course.
Well, you could have gummy lizards, something like that. It's kids.
I think the problem is every time they start they start the contest, the sound gets them too startled and they run away, so they're never able to
Yeah.
never able to complete the challenge. So
Like 1, 2, 3, go, and they all run. They're like, ah, take off.
take off.
Speaking of that, did anyone else notice like the crate dragon sound that the train seemed to make when we
Mhm.
first saw it coming in?
At first, I thought it was going to be a crate dragon.
So did
I was
Yeah.
like,
Same.
I was like, does the train have one of those horns like a car has that like does the music? It's got like a horn
They're-
that sounds like a
They're
crate
like, all right,
dragon.
for your train, we can either give you La Cucaracha or
Right.
this
Right.
crate dragon noise.
Or crate dragons are like parrots, that because they hear that sound all the time. That's why they go whoa, because they yeah.
They imitate
I-
trains.
Yeah.
I
So
was
they-
also
they-
like, oh, it's probably just Obi-Wan messing with them again.
It's Obi-Wan strapped to the front of a train.
they thought the Obi-Wan was a train coming at them, like
Yeah.
like simple-minded film viewers
Yeah,
in
exactly.
the 1905. They thought that he was going to come right at them.
Let's see. Frank Donatelli, thanks so much for your super chat. In Book of Boba Fett, we've seen a lot of throwback tropes from pulp stories like Conan the Barbarian. What is a genre, trope, or theme from older adventure fiction that you'd like to see explored in the Book of Boba Fett that hasn't been already explored?
I'm trying to run through tropes. Like the first thing that popped into my mind was what they're doing in The Mandalorian already. I was like, a child that needs help. Nope, don't do that again. We just did that twice.
How about like a bunch of children that adopt Boba Fett and it's like Peter Pan or it's like Hook. He has a moment where he's eating like the
And he has to learn to
make-believe
fly again.
There you
food.
go. In this backpack.
Boba
Yeah,
Fett's
he
Peter
hasn't-
Pan.
Yeah, he's not using his jetpack. Why? He's too afraid. He has to remember how to believe.
I want to see someone, the Star Wars equivalent of someone being tied onto train tracks with a train coming. You know what I mean? Like the dun, 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 dun.
They,
Yeah, that's
they
funny.
do that for like this train, but then it
Yeah.
just hovers, so it just goes right over them.
Goes right over them. Like, oh,
well,
I thought that was going to
yeah.
be worse, really. Or if somebody tied to a log in a sawmill. We don't get that enough these days,
Yeah.
They did something like that in the Clone Wars in one of the Mandalorian episodes when I think Obi-Wan was like strapped to some machine that Duchess Satine had to shut down before he got chopped or something.
Yeah. After that left my mouth, I realized it just kind of described the droid factory from Attack of the Clones. So like, wait, I don't want that. But
Well, she just like fell in that. No one put her there.
right. Well, but then there's the when his hand is trapped in the thing and there's a conveyor belt.
Oh,
and
yeah,
all that.
yeah,
that
It's
too.
all right.
Yeah.
I would like to see some like official. The first thing when you said old story tropes, old adventure story tropes, I thought of like maybe like a Three Musketeers kind of a thing where they're. I want some more kind of like official. I want some more kind of courtroom royal based adventure. I want some people to be not necessarily on the run. I want them to be kind of sanctioned by whoever's in charge of the planet or the the sector. But to be these kind of people come in being like, oh hey, my and a lot of this could be me misremembering a lot of Three Musketeers, but people coming in with problems and then sending out like a squad, basically sending out these adventurers to go kind of like help people in the galaxy. That's the thing I'd like to see within this.
I think you're thinking of the A-Team.
The A-Team, that's what it is.
Which is
Which
the bad
one had the
batch.
guy with the mohawk and the jewelry? Was that the Three
Power
Musketeers?
Rangers. Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like we've done the kind of rogue badass a lot, and I would like to see kind of a a lawful good Star Wars for a little bit, and outside of I know they're doing some of that with the Jedi stuff, but outside of the Jedi, I have very specific tastes.
We kind of
lawful,
already
lawful
did.
good with no lightsabers.
Yeah, we kind of already did the Holy Grail trope with his actual armor. Like he kind of already got that, but
Right.
we talked about this earlier, Alex. Like, how hard was he actually looking for his armor?
I don't think he was. I think right now he's like, I'm not worried about it. And I'm interested to see what it is that sparks him into being like, okay, time to track this down.
Hmm.
It's weird that it was on Tatooine for 6 years, and he never I guess he just never even thought to look there.
Well, I mean, I don't think he cares right now. That
Right,
he's
yeah.
going through this identity crisis, and he's just like, whatever, I don't need it.
Mhm.
I'm hanging out with the Tuscans.
So presumably when he meets up with Fennec Shan and she says, "Oh, I saw a guy wearing Mandalorian armor. He was just here," and then that's what gets him to go for it, I guess.
Hmm.
Could be.
Maybe that's
Maybe-
I hope they answer this, but
Maybe he knew Cobb Vanth had it for a little while, and he was like, you know what? He's doing some good stuff with it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let him borrow it, and then at some point, yeah, he wants it back.
I want to find out who gives Fennec Shan her metal washboard abs.
right? Can the
doesn't
Tusken
seem-
Raiders do that? That seems
Yeah.
unlikely.
I mean, I guess Tatooine is bigger. It is more populous than I ever imagined. So maybe there is someone who does abs on the planet. But
I
it's
like that
something
you
you'd
call them
That-
washboard abs. We call them abs of steel.
Abs
Yeah,
of steel.
that's a better way to do it.
The armorer, the Tuscan armorer that helped him make his gaffy stick. We don't know what
Mm.
else they can do. They got
Yeah.
the whole little shop there.
They all lift up
Yeah.
their stomachs. They all have washboard abs.
They're all
Abs of
robots.
steel.
That's what we're going to learn about
Oh,
Tusken
man.
Raiders.
That's going to be the season finale. He's going to reveal that they're all robots. He's going to
They're
be
all
trying to
robots.
protect them, and then boom.
It's
What?
Skynet.
These are all robots the whole time? And he wakes up and he's still in the Sarlacc.
Oh, and then it
This
turns
is
out,
all
and it
just a-
wakes up, and it's
All a
just a
dream.
dream. He's a kid back on. He's Daniel Logan back on. Dad,
Boba
Tonway is
Fett never
here.
existed.
Yeah.
He
Oh,
wakes up because the doorbell rings, and then he opens it. It's Tonway and Obi Wan, and then he's like,
there you
"Oh,
go. Hmm.
Yep.
Yep.
No, but he's dreamed everything that's going to happen. So they're like, "Is your father home?" And he goes, "Nope," and he closes the door.
Slam.
Yeah.
the
He
dreams
just
are
shoots
back."
Obi-Wan. What?
Dragonus Prime, thanks for the super chat. It's you, dude. I'd like to just touch on the ending dance scene. As I was watching it, I went, "It's a haka, being a ritual which honors achievement." I do not know enough about Maori culture, but that makes a lot of sense. I had a feeling it was probably referencing Temuera Morrison's culture, because he talked about wanting to bring that into Boba Fett's character in The Mandalorian. So I was like, that's probably something, but I don't know enough to say that for sure.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
I watched it, I was mostly thinking of Native Americans, but it didn't even occur to me that he would have his own, a different indigenous culture that was taken over by colonialists. So
Mhm.
Yeah. Sadly, you have a lot of options if you're
Yeah.
picking one to.
Matt McDonald coming in with the next super chat. Hello, my big reaction to today was "That's more like it." Loved seeing Boba accepted among the Tuscans. Seems to be making honor key to him again.
Yeah. That was my reaction too. That was the first thing I said in my review. I was like, that's more like it. It was more just that, like, okay, I think I get this now. I understand this.
It's interesting to see where it goes. How much balance they're going to have between the two storylines, and what we're going to pick up, what we're going to learn, what we're going to not learn. I don't feel like everything has to be explained, but it would be interesting to see what.
no, especially here.
Right.
Do you
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
these? Well,
I don't mean to badmouth explaining. You guys are bread and butter, but
yeah,
We can only explain so much.
yeah.
They only have a minute. I mean, what?
Yeah, well,
Not anymore. We abandoned that.
Yeah.
It's too hard.
yeah. Tell me about it.
Kyle Beckworth, thanks for the super chat. Loved the episode. I'm gone hurt. I think this means I'm gonna have to buy a couple of pops from this episode. Wookiee and Twin Huts.
Mm.
I thought
it's
they-
I hope there's a Chrysanthemum pop. I'll get it.
Ooh.
Mm.
I really
Yeah.
thought they meant Tuscan pops.
Oh yeah, you're still hungry from before. Do they still make? Is that Tuscan still a company that makes dairy products?
I don't know.
Okay.
The fact that no one even laughed at my cornball joke makes me think that Tuscan pops are no longer a thing.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
How Tuscan pops used to be a popsicle that you could buy.
Oh, you know
Like,
why?
it was
They're
like a
they're
Ah.
local. They're from New Jersey. So
Oh, there you go.
probably
Never
people
mind.
outside of the greater New York tri-state area don't really know.
Okay. Believe me, 10 people really laughed at that joke.
Yeah, Tuscan Dairy Farms.
Mm.
Um,
You
Brett-
own any
oh,
Funko Pops?
I've got my Mark Hamill.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a Greedo or two around because I love my Greedos, but other than that, I think that's it. I never really. There are definitely some that I'm worried if once I buy them, it'll open up a door and they'll be everywhere.
You'll forever will dominate your destiny.
Molly.
Yeah, so I gotta keep it contained.
Sorry, Molly, I interrupted your question.
Oh no. I was gonna say I don't have like hundreds of Funko Pops in my office.
See,
It's a dangerous hobby.
that's
And
what I'm concerned about. There are
You
ones
can
that I
cool off.
definitely.
You've cooled off a little bit.
oh yeah, because I got mad
ran out of room.
because but one, I ran out of room, but two, they were really milking the like special edition Funko Pops. There was like 6 versions of Jyn Erso, and I was like, no, I don't like this.
Does
Trying to get
anyone
me to
collect
spend more
all
money.
the Funko Pops, or do people always pick? There's too many. You can't buy all of them, right? You
No,
gotta.
I pick characters. I'm like, you
Right.
know what? Max Rebo's got one, and I've got a Max Rebo collection.
Yeah.
I'm on it. I got my Biggs Funko Pops. Like, I focus on a couple characters and not
Yeah.
everything that ever came out.
I
about you,
was
Mom?
collecting most of them like years and years ago when we kind of like first started the channel, but then yeah,
Even-
it got
you-
to be too many.
Only Star Wars, or do you do like other like? So at the beginning, you were buying every Funko Pop, even if it was something you weren't a big fan of.
No, just Star Wars.
Oh, just Star Wars.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I meant
Yeah.
if is anyone buying all of them?
Oh
But
God, I
that would
hope
be
not.
impossible.
Somebody out there has to be.
Yeah, somebody must be.
But then, I remember seeing when they years ago when I worked in a store, we sold the Simpsons figures when they first started making those, and there were the people who were like, "Oh, I'm gonna get all of these because they're finally making Simpsons," and then that line ballooned so much that I like watching people slowly give up to be like, I can't own all of these. And
Yeah.
I think it's the same thing with with the Star Wars Pops with a lot of the different ones. I don't know.
Hmm.
Yeah, I got to keep it limited.
Yeah.
So far, I'll just stick to my Mark Hamill and my Greedo. They didn't make a Kroontan B machine yet, right? the
Yet.
yet they will. Come on, they're going to make one of everything. That's the birthing droid, the midwife droid. I want one of those. I would buy one of
yeah.
those. But
Relax.
Ooba.
yeah,
Ooba.
Brett Baumler, thanks for the next question. So many Trandoshans in this episode. Boskin coming. Bosk versus Black Chrysanthemum. It would be cool to see Trandoshan limb regeneration in live action. I think Black Chrysanthemum coming in makes other bounty hunters less likely.
Pablo pointed out on Twitter that there's a shot of like the behind the scenes stuff from Return of the Jedi, like right behind where Max Rebo is seen
yeah.
on the sail barge. Bosk is like standing right behind him, but in the movie you only kind of like see his little claw.
yeah, he's
on the
behind
side.
that little like glass divider, that like smoked
Yeah.
glass partition.
Yeah, but
Which is
Max
what
was
he
there.
wanted.
Bib
It's for
Fortuna was
privacy.
there.
Yeah.
So
Everyone except for Jabba survived that explosion. That's what we're
It
learning.
must be.
Seems like it.
And there was a
I would love to see
stormtrooper
more
on
and
there
more.
somewhere that ended up in the Sarlacc pit.
Yeah, what was he doing there? I would love to see more and more bounty hunters, but I don't want it to get oversaturated.
Mhm.
That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It could be the type of thing where it's like they might build it up to use as a kind of a cliffhanger gotcha for the end of the season, maybe the way that we saw Boba Fett, or like it's going to be, diminishing returns because there's like the way that, people, a lot of quote unquote normal people out there in the world who aren't obsessed with this the way that, some of us are. They mostly know who Boba Fett is, but once you start going like, aha, it's Dengar, they're going to be like, well, okay,
Right.
all right, you're going to lose more and more people. Although, if you set it up and explain it right, my in-laws loved Mandalorian, and they like a lot of the characters, even if they didn't know who they were. Now they do, and now they're excited about them. So if you set it up right, you can throw in anybody. So I'm all for it.
I was trying to think of what Dengar would be like. It's the Book of Boba Fett, the Days of Dengar.
The Diary of Dengar.
Diary of
Dengar.
Dengar Diaries.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And who was it that were what's the name of the Zuckuss and depending on
Forlom.
I'll say 4LOM because that's how I say it, but
well, that's how they spell it in the comics, so you're correct.
I say for love of money.
Yeah. You're but I reverse them. I refer to the droid as Zuckuss. I'm teaching my kids that too. They're going to be so
you are a Kenner fundamentalist.
Yeah.
But they weren't on the barge, right? I don't think. Did we see
I don't think
either
so.
of them?
Dengar and Bosk were there.
Yeah.
But not Zuckuss or Forlom. And I'm sure it was just because they were like, let's reuse those costumes, not because they were like, who needs to be here.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, wait. Plot-wise, it's important if we have Dengar standing over there, and they're like, come on.
Is Bosk still canonically around? Do we know Bosk's fate?
As far as we know, yeah, he should still be alive.
Well, that glass partition protected him.
Mm-hmm.
No, but I mean, I don't know if there was some other comic story where Bosk met his end. Or something like that. So.
I don't think so, but yeah, I agree that I don't need to see. But again, if they earn it, if they set it up story wise, I'm sure I'll be excited about it if it happens. But I don't think I need to see who are other characters that people would know, that my in-laws would know, without having me having to explain it over dinner the next day.
Who might appear?
Yeah,
or other
that
bounty
they could mix
hunters.
in other Star Wars characters that could get mixed in, that they could be like, oh yeah, I saw
Lando,
so and so. Yeah.
Well, Bradshaw Studio is wondering if the Rugs and Wedge are coming in. I don't know who the Rugs are, or if that's a
particularly nasty
term for
rug.
Wookiees. Yeah.
The Rugs. So, someone get this walking rug out of my way.
Yeah.
Yeah, where's Wedge? He's
I don't think he has a place in this story.
yeah.
Well, he's
the Rugs has to be like a.
You don't think they could
misspelling.
Squeeze Wedge in there? You
Yeah,
don't think they
look
could
at
like?
they couldn't needle him in there.
I don't know why he would. If any pilot comes in, it's probably going to be Carson Teva.
Right.
I feel like Wedge is a very popular character nowadays. The only way I'd be interested in them bringing Wedge back is if like they did something radical with him, like had him be turned into a bad guy or something like that. Like
Which
having
I don't
him be
think
kind of
they
like
can, because he's still good in the Rise of Skywalker. So
Yeah.
unless he goes through a real dark phase.
he did his, maybe he was in jail for a time.
I want to see
Cable
him
theft.
leave the military and try to start a business or something. Maybe he runs a hotel. There you go. We were just talking about that.
Yeah.
To spin him off into his own thing.
I think the problem is he ran a business, but every time he was about to close the deal, he's just like, sorry, and he just runs away every time.
Brett Baumler has another super chat. It says, apparently the male Hutt was holding a hoojib. It had the same antenna thing. Kevin Scott must be happy.
Oh, I didn't even put that together. That's a hoojib.
It doesn't have long ears. That's my only thing. I do think it is a hoojib, but maybe it's a baby hoojib that hasn't like fully grown its ears out.
I just know that he was using it as like a sweat rag at one point. And I was like, ew.
Also, those things are sentient.
Yeah.
Like, that's a like living thinking creature that he's using to dab his brow with.
I wouldn't think of Hutts as being sweat. I wouldn't think of them as sweating.
I didn't either, but
I mean,
Jabba was pretty glisteny at times.
You think
is sweat and slime the same thing? I don't know.
Could be slobber though. He had some slobber issues.
Plus, it seemed I pictured Jabba's palace being very humid. You know what I mean? So that could just be like water dripping from the.
Speaking of heat,
I
liked the one Hutt's tiny little fan. I'm like, what is that doing for you? Not much. It can't be.
I can't believe I don't have my fan in here.
Wikipedia now The Wikipedia page for Hujib currently lists first appearance as the Book of Boba Fett season 1 episode 2. So they, granted, that's fandom,
Yeah.
fan run, but they are calling it a Hujib. So let's call it a Hujib, everybody.
Okay, this was not black. I can't remember what's the black Wookiee's name again.
Chrysanthemum. Chrysantan.
He has been canonized before, but this is the first time the Hujibs are canonized.
Hujibs have been in canon comics, but definitely
Right.
never anything on screen.
Oh, doesn't it say their first appearance was in the Book of Boba Fett?
Chronologically, this happens before that comic, I think. So, oh no, it was in Star Wars
That
Adventures.
eye roll was excellent.
Star Wars Adventures. So maybe that. I don't know.
Is that canon?
I think
Yeah.
so. I don't know.
Okay.
Until somebody says otherwise.
Okay.
Hujib.
Does that mean there's a what jib and a where jib?
And a how jib.
Why jib?
And a why jib.
Why jib?
I think we all know why, Jib.
Yeah.
The one who cannot smell, thanks for the super chat. Could Boba being the new crime lord give the Tuskens a voice in matters regarding the Dune Sea?
Mm.
Yeah, I think that could be part of his motivation.
There you go.
Yeah.
Maybe instead of them all dying, they'll all become part of this
We'll become
machine
government
that'll run
bureaucrats.
them. Yeah. Yeah. They'll all get office jobs, which is kind of like dying. That's their fate that they're doomed to.
I was wondering if the introduction of speeders would forever alter Tusken cult. Like, there's no prime directive in Star Wars where Boba Fett's just like, "Hey, you guys, here's some technology. Have fun with it." So
Yeah,
Right, you have machines now, he said.
I thought maybe that like they would
I will be
reject.
right back.
I thought maybe they would reject the machines at 1st, but then I was thinking like, oh well, the Ewoks were kind of shown technology in Return of the Jedi, and then the stories that happened after that, we see Ewoks kind of like going out into the galaxy, and one is like there's a slicer Ewok in a book, and so I was like, maybe they just have to accept technology at this point to not be,
But it's
run all over.
Yeah. There were literally, I know you kind of half joking, you said there's no prime directive, but I was just talking I do another side project of a Star Trek podcast with some friends, and we were just talking about the episode of Private Little War, where it's basically, they go down and there were people that were living peacefully on their planet, and then the Klingons came and gave some people slightly advanced. They gave them, rifles, not muskets, flintlock rifles, and then upset the balance of things. And so Captain Kirk was like, well, we got to give our people rifles to maintain the balance. And I was like, is that really the lesson here? Is this sad? Like, we're destroying this culture because it's like, otherwise they're going to get destroyed by those other people. But it seems like the same thing. It's like Boba's like, all right, well, you have your culture and you have your life that you're essentially happy with, but because of other things going on, because these guys are going to run through here, you need some new technology, you need some new materials, new weapons.
Yeah,
it's disappointing.
It would be funny if since I guess the Rise of Skywalker era is like 30 years later, they should go back to Tatooine, and they have elaborate, metal cities, and they're all technological.
It's like the Jetsons.
Yeah, they have a big statue of Boba Fett giving them the tools.
Oh, totally. Right.
That would be cool. I can't help but picture Wild Wild West, like the giant metal spider thing.
They build a giant bantha, a giant Trojan
bantha.
Try and shoot this one down. You can't. It's a machine.
Falls over instantly.
Right.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, we had so much fun while you were
Yeah, it was the best.
We solved every problem that Boba Fett could and will ever have.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Too complicated to explain again.
Yeah. You'll watch it.
That's okay. I'll watch it. I'll watch it later. An idea guy.
yes.
Thanks for your super chat. Says clones gave him fear of age, and the Bacta slows it. Oh, that could be another reason why he's
Yeah.
He wants to live forever.
Although, as we said, he should only be 42, so maybe Bacta
Yeah.
makes it's like anti-Bacta. It makes him age even quicker.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, this stuff's terrible.
He's like,
He felt like secondhand Bacta. Like little band-aids floating in him.
Yeah.
Ew. Ew.
It's the same pack that Luke Skywalker used.
They just
So you know it's good.
Right.
reuse it. Brett Baumler with another super chat. Do we think Cobb Vanth could show up in this show? Cobb used to be a slave, and if Boba opposes slavery, maybe he'll help him.
I didn't think of Boba Fett as necessarily opposing slavery.
Well, he was pretty adamant at like if the Pikes were carrying spice from the slaved mines
right.
of Kessel, he
You'd
was
say
like,
that.
that's not cool with me.
So
And-
it's
and
not
he was like-
anti-spice in general, just specifically slave-driven ones.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, he can't be anti-spice now that he's gone on that vision
Sure.
quest.
Yeah, that's pretty
You know what, guys?
hypocritical.
I was totally wrong. Give
Wait a
me
minute.
all that spice.
Call those fish
Okay.
people up. Are they still here? Can we stop them?
I don't care how many Wookiees had to die for this.
I do hope Cobb Vanth is in this show, and I
I
think
mean-
he probably will be.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Do you guys think the Mandalorian will show up? That didn't
Wouldn't
even occur
surprise
to me.
me. I mean, I think they are probably going to show the Tython stuff again if they keep flashing back and they're catching us up to.
Oh, maybe in a
Present day.
flashback.
Yeah, that's what I think, that we might see some characters that we know, but in the flashbacks.
I think the Mandalorian will show up at the last episode to segue back into season 3.
That
of
makes sense,
The
too.
Mandalorian.
Yes.
Right. Mind if I play through? He was just like stopping in for a second
Yeah.
to be like, "Oh, hey, it's the Mandalorian."
And they'll get
You know.
they'll have some hot young who's a hot young man, like Timothy Chalamet.
Chalamet.
He'll play Baby Yoda. He'll be like teenage Yoda. Hey guys. Because now that he's older, they can kind of have more fun
Right.
with him.
Yeah. There you go.
He hit puberty real hard.
Right. Yeah.
That's the thing with Yodas; they just go bam right
Yeah.
there.
You're a baby for a long time, and then like, boom.
You're either a toddler or you look like Yoda.
You're an old man, yeah.
No, wait, did we think Cobb Vanth would show up in the flashback stuff or in the current era stuff?
Present.
You know,
Oh, I was figuring.
present?
All right, yeah, I could see that too. I was thinking flashback,
Yeah,
but
I thought that
He
too, 'cause
should-
it seems like they would have some. I don't know, but maybe not, because then he would.
Boba
know-
Fett should just give him back the armor. He's like, you know what? You can use this better than I can. Here you go. I'm sorry.
Well, I think maybe it could be the kind of thing we've speculated on this before, that before this came out, we were speculating that Boba Fett might not even be a person. It's just whoever's wearing the armor is
like
basically
Batman.
Oh,
kinda.
yeah.
So
Just
if
an idea.
if Boba's like, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore, he could give it to Cobb Vanth, and as far as anyone knows, Cobb Vanth is Boba Fett. He can
Right.
still keep running the town and so on. But he's just a bit taller and
Tread Pirate
lankier,
Roberts.
like Oral Roberts.
Alex Franco, thanks for the super chat. Cared for the current timeline first episode, not so much for the past in the first episode. Okay, liked the current timeline in the first episode, didn't like the past in the first episode. This episode was vice versa. Wanted more of the past, not so much for the current.
I can see that. I feel like I think I agree.
I'm
After-
still more
after-
drawn to the present day. I liked all the past stuff in this episode, but I wish it weren't like a 75-25% split where I wanted a little more of whatever's happening in the present day.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were speculating that the present day stuff is probably a lot more expensive because you have extras, you have sets. The Tuscan stuff, they're just hanging out in the desert all the time.
That's
So,
true.
it's a bit more
No, watch, they're
budget
gonna
conscious.
flip it. He's gonna go in the flashbacks. He's gonna go like into a town or something like that, and go, like do a next part of his adventure, and then in the current era stuff, he's gonna get like stranded or something. So it's just gonna be like him in the desert. So they're like, they have a budget. They can't do both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They need to do some ship in a bottle episodes.
Right? Yeah. He gets accidentally locked in his own Rancor pit, and he's like, well, how do I get out of here?
Did you guys think the Rancor was going to show up?
I was
Hey,
kind of
Rancor.
hoping something was down there.
I thought the
Yeah.
Rancor Keeper was going to show up.
It's
Oh,
like,
Malakili.
Yeah, but
Still.
no luck.
He got excited for a second. He's like, oh,
Yeah,
it's just
He always
Somebody
forgets
else.
that he got killed, so every time the door opens, he's like,
Yeah.
what? Oh.
That was a great moment of comedy, though, when it's like, well, we're gonna feed you the Rancor, and she's like, just
Yeah.
kidding, it's empty,
Yeah.
haha, you suck.
It's empty, idiot. I loved her being like, they're overpriced, like talking
You're paying for
crap
the
about
name.
another
Yeah, other
assassin.
assassins.
Like,
yeah.
oh, I kill people, but I do it like on the cheap.
Yeah. Has that assassin guild ever been referred to before?
Yes. Well, the guild
No.
specifically, no. The Order of the
what-
Night Wing.
Whatever
The
that
Knight.
group was that.
There
Right.
is an
Yeah.
Assassin's Guild, but I'd never heard of that order yet.
Okay. It seems like this could have been a good opportunity to do like a proto Black Sun or some kind of tie-in to a bigger.
I'm
thing.
hoping Black Sun appears,
Yeah.
but I'm already
Yeah.
glad. I was like, okay, we did Hut Cartel, we did the Pike Syndicate. I was afraid
Yeah.
that they were just gonna like make up some new criminal syndicates instead of use stuff that we've already seen.
Here's what I'd like to see, and I'm a Godfather. I do a Godfather podcast. I would like to see a meeting of all the crime families.
Yeah, that'd
It
be
would
awesome.
be like Boba Fett. It would be like Prince Zizor. It would be the Black Sun people. It would be all the people.
Well, you know,
That's
he has
what
a
I want.
dinner party at some point.
Mhm.
Hmm.
But those all look like newbies, like people
Yeah.
we haven't seen before. So that's why I was like, I'm afraid they're not going to do anything with existing criminal syndicates.
But
And they're going to act
What
like
if-
all these new people are just as big of a deal.
Mhm.
What if those shots are only for the trailers and there's actually different people at that dinner party?
They didn't want
That'd
to
be
spoil it.
crazy, but I doubt it.
Or it's like all that stuff is just before all the real guests show up and kick
Yeah.
everybody out of their chairs.
Right. It's 2 dinner parties.
Yeah.
They're just
That's
warming it up
extra
for
expensive.
the main guest.
Yeah, they're
Mhm.
seat fillers.
It's the after
Um,
party is all we care about.
Well, timeline wise, I don't follow too much of the other materials, but Kira hasn't been. She could be around and running things a little bit by the time, at least of the flashbacks, if not.
In theory, yes. I'm going to guess that won't happen based on what's happening in the comics,
Right.
but it's possible.
It's possible.
For a second, I got excited. I was like, oh, well, maybe when they were filming WandaVision, they just took him aside for a second. They got some new scenes with what's his name, but he would be long dead by the time this even starts. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name now. I just want to call him Vision again.
Vision.
Dryden?
Yeah, Dryden Voss.
Yeah, Dryden Bus. Let's see. Next up, I don't know how to say this. Przemic Dudek. I think
Bounty
I probably
Hunter?
butchered that one.
I think you nailed it.
Thank you for the super chat. Boba's called I can never
Daimyo.
Daimyo.
Hmm.
Yeah, Boba's called Daimyo, which is a Japanese feudal title. He has that armor stand in concept art. The story is very Kurosawa, a lot of samurai vibes. Yeah, the armor stand is there in the back to tank room. It's like way off to one
Yeah.
of the sides. But yeah, very, very Kurosawa. Very samurai.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, it's where a lot of Star Wars sits at that intersection of Western and samurai, especially Mandalorian. So this, I just wanted to update everybody that in between my pointing it out and now, the Wikipedia page has been edited and no longer lists Book of Boba Fett Chapter 2 as
For the
the
Hoojibs?
canonical appearance of the Hoojibs.
Wow.
So,
Really?
Corrected in
I like
real
the idea
time.
that there's 2 people fighting over it.
yeah.
Like, that's not a Hoojib. Like, no,
Yeah.
it is a Hoojib.
Well, we don't know. Yeah.
It
I'm
hasn't
really
been confirmed.
Sorry, I pointed it out to anybody who just found it and was like, that can't be, and edited it.
I'm really
I
impressed
wonder if
with
someone
those.
in this chat heard that and was like, I got to go take that down.
Mhm.
If
I'm
you
really
did
impressed
it,
with those,
you fess up.
Those Wikipedia editors are. I'm amazed at how many times I'm like watching the episode, taking notes, and then I go to look up something, and it says it's referring to the show that just aired. Stopped.
Yeah.
Aired 5 hours ago. But like you said, I guess in Australia this airs in prime time, so that makes sense that people there or whoever would.
Right, yeah.
It's just made me laugh.
Who wants to tackle that one?
It's a tiny little rabbit-like creature.
From the comics, right? The original
Yeah,
Marvel
mostly
comics.
from
Yeah.
comics. Yeah, the
And
old
there's a whole
77.
planet of them.
Mhm.
whole planet's made up of Hoojibs.
Whole planet is
They're
one
like
big
the
hoojib.
they're like oh no, I just forgot what they're called. What are the ones in Star Trek that
Tribbles?
The
multiply?
tribbles, yeah. I almost called them
Tribbles.
truffles.
Tribbles.
They're kind of almost like, because they were force sensitive, right, or something.
Yeah, I think
The hoojibs?
Yeah.
I think
I
so.
don't know.
Oh,
Are
well,
you
they
They were
conflating them with the...
sentient.
There wasn't there a didn't Anakin have a pet? Anakin Solo, I think, in Legends had a pet
Oh.
Hoojib.
Mm.
Not pet, friend. Now I'm reaching way
That's
back
true,
into
they are
my
sentient, yeah. Companion. He had a
25
companion.
years ago. Yeah. 25 years ago, I read those
Partner.
books.
There you go. Cohabitator.
Thorough Unfiction, thanks for another super chat. What are the odds that we see Sana, Omega, or Afra in this show?
I say 0.
Yeah, I'm
For
going
all of
0
them.
for all of them. Afra, I mean, Black Chrysanthemum means she's more possible, I guess. But honestly, like a lot of the names I see people throwing out, I'm like, these are just people you want to see, and I don't know that they could slide them in. Like Black Chrysanthemum, I was like, this makes so much sense. You just need a bounty hunter, like slide him in. Omega, you can't just put her in this story. It has to be largely about her and their relationship. Afra,
Yeah.
I just don't know why. Same
Maybe-
with Sana.
Yeah. Afra maybe more in... Well, what's the timing-wise again? Would she be timing-wise in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show be more likely? Or is that... No. That's...
Nah, she'd be pretty young then.
Yeah.
I think they're more likely to show Boba Fett in the Bad Batch before they would show her in the Book of Boba Fett.
Hmm.
Oh, that's right.
Interesting.
Omega's the one from. Who's the other one? Who's the middle person? You got Afra, Omega, and who's the other one? That's
Oh,
last-
Sana.
Sana Staros.
She's
Who's
from
that?
the comics as well.
Yeah.
Oh, is that Han
She's-
Solo's wife?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kinda.
When you see
Yeah.
her first.
Fake
I withdraw
wife.
my question.
It was all for a scam.
Yeah. Magnet, thanks for the super chat. Really enjoyed the episode. I honestly do wonder if Cad Bane showed up. It would be really cool to see a conclusion to their rivalry. Also, love you guys. Oh, thank you.
Thanks.
I do still, somewhere in the back of my mind, I'm hoping that Cad Bane has a place in this show, whether it be the first season or if there are multiple seasons, maybe he'll be in the next season. But I think for him to show up, they could squeeze him in. Am I wrong?
Wedge him in.
Really wedge him in
Cad
there.
Bane and Wedge are together.
Yeah.
Yeah, they teamed up.
Yeah.
I can. There's no doubt in my mind that Dave Filoni is going to put Cad Bane in somewhere. Maybe he's saving him for the Ahsoka series. I feel like the Ahsoka series is where Dave Filoni's like, okay, now I can finally put in all the stuff that I just wanted.
That's why they gave him Ahsoka. They were like,
Yeah.
you know what, Dave? Here. Just you.
Yeah.
There
Made
you go.
a special cake to ruin over here.
Throw
Not
a
that-
wolf or two
not
in
that these
there,
things-
sure.
Yeah. Not that any of this would ruin it, but it's
Yeah.
it's its own little playground.
Cad
But-
Bane, I do feel like fits the aesthetic of the show.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very Western inspired. I'm struggling to see. I mean, we got 5 episodes left. I don't know. They might move very quickly with like all this Hut stuff. Maybe in the next episode, like he takes care of all that and he kills Black Chrysanthemum. But I feel like they were setting him up to be a kind of a big bad for the season. I don't know, a potential big bad. So I don't know how fast they're going to move through bounty hunters. I just fear that it would be like, okay, and then in episode 3, Bosk shows up, and in episode 4, Cad Bane shows up, and in episode 5, it's like, okay, now we just have a billion bounty hunters all standing around. Like, I don't know. I want them to show up and mean something, but I do want to see Cad Bane in live action.
It's funny because The Mandalorian was actually the perfect excuse to do that because he was being hunted by bounty hunters. That would have been the perfect time to introduce all the people
Right.
that we, Aura Singe and all the different people we wanted to see. But they didn't do it then, so it seems like
It's
it'd be
really-
harder to justify here.
It's interesting to look at, like, The Mandalorian to me is such an almost Boba Fett show where, like, it's a Mandalorian, it's not Boba Fett, it's a Mandalorian. And in the second episode, he fights Trandoshans. It's not Bosk, but they're Trandoshans. And also there's this IG droid. It's IG-11, not 88. And like
Mhm.
it's just so much almost of what we've seen before. And
Yeah,
now
it's
Book of Boba Fett, I'm like, and then they could kind of throw in like all the stuff we almost saw in the Mandalorian.
It's everything that they wanted to do with a potential Boba Fett story, but probably couldn't because they're like, we're saving Boba Fett for something else.
Yeah.
It's like they couldn't get the actors back, so they had to come up with lookalikes who were kind of just like them.
Right. Coin and Vance.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
guy-
IG-88 has a Vegas show. We can't get him.
Yeah, schedule
He's
wise.
very busy.
Yeah,
But here's his cousin, IG-11.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, our friend Ken Plume just texted a meme thing. It's a picture of Cad Bane. And it says, "Expectations. Every show needs its Mephisto." So there you go.
Mm.
Everybody's Cad Bane's going to be always the one that everybody's going to be. It's Cad Bane, and it's not going to be him. So.
Love it.
Locked On Gaming, thanks for a question. Will Boba bring in bounty hunters to work for him? All right, well, maybe this is our in. The Wookiee, not Chrysanthemum, would be perfect to fight Bosk. Do you mean Snuva?
He said not chrysanthemum, different scars, hair, 2 good eyes.
Hair. The Wookiee with hair. That
one.
Yeah.
Got it.
I think he means Snuva, which is the one that Chewbacca like posed as in Shadows of the Empire.
flat
That'd be my
top?
guess.
The flat
Yeah,
top.
flat top.
Ooh.
That'd be interesting to see if Boba Fett brought in old allies. Because I mean,
Hmm.
okay, that works better for me. Because he
Yeah.
did used to work with Bosk. So if he calls up some friends,
I guess we don't know we still don't know what his motivation is for taking over the crime.
Right.
syndicate. Like,
Right.
if he's just doing this for the Tuskens, he doesn't need to hire bounty hunters to go do stuff that, No, we
Well,
guess we'll see.
once he starts getting strong armed, then maybe he does. He's like, I need some help. This is just me and Fennec
Yeah.
Shand and 88 here hanging out.
See,
We need
that's
some
always
other people.
I feel like people ask, could this person show up? Could this person? And my gut instinct is always like, no, and I don't see how it would work. But then someone will suggest something like that. I'm like, oh, okay. that does kind of make sense.
Yeah.
But what if we did it this way?
Yeah. I'm just like, I'm not, I'm
Well-
too tired to sit there and think about how all the options would be.
Right.
Setting our sights a little higher, as we all know, The Mandalorian season 2 ended with a cameo by Luke Skywalker of all people. Do you think we'll have any like A-list cameos like that? Will we get like a
We
know,
already
like,
got one. His name is Max Rebo. Thank you very much.
It's true.
Yeah, I don't know what else
you.
you want.
I mean Harrison Ford's not going to do it. I guess Mark Hamill could do it again.
Oh
But-
yeah, there's a bunch of rumors that Han
Yeah.
is going to be in this, which I don't like. I don't like that idea, but
Oh, unless they
I
have
Alden
have
Ehrenreich.
Alden Ehrenreich play him.
true.
Doesn't seem
like
like
all
me.
of this just seems like I get queasy thinking about it. I'm like, oh, that's a lot.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't want them to go too overboard in the nostalgia cameos.
Yeah.
I liked
mean-
Luke and Mando, but it also wasn't something that I was like, yes, I want to see that. I was kind of against it the whole season, and then it happened, and I was like, okay, that was pretty sick.
Mhm.
But I don't
Yeah.
want them to do it every season for every show.
Hmm.
You don't
Yep.
want Palpatine showing up. This looks like a good place to leave my granddaughter. Forget it. Let's find another desert planet.
I don't.
man.
That was one of my. As much as I got wrapped up in it, I loved it at the time. Like, it is a little disappointing that with Mandalorian, it was like, look at all this new stuff. Oh, just kidding. It's Luke Skywalker and and Boba Fett, and so now, I also hope that they don't go too hard into the cameos of like, hey, look at that guy, look at that guy. Like, it's fun to like sprinkle a little bit of these lower level guys, not and Max Rebo, and then but also like I want to see new things.
Hmm.
That's what I'm
Agreed.
saying.
At
Although,
the time,
go ahead.
no, I was gonna change gears a bit.
So was I.
Boba Fett emerges from the Sarlacc pit. How long after that is the Death Star blown up? Is he hanging out with the Tuskens, or does he get the news that the Empire is gone?
I was
I doubt
wondering
it.
when he finds out that the Empire is not a thing anymore, and
Right.
if he even cares at that point.
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Could be
I
fun.
feel like he's just incommunicado for a while, and then he comes out and he's like, he just hears the Empire's gone. And he's like, well, okay.
All right.
Like he goes to call, like
Yeah.
he's like, hey,
Although he does seem a little surprised and distraught in The Mandalorian season 2 when he's like chasing the Dark Troopers back to their ship. He's like, oh my God, the Empire's back. So I guess he knew at some point.
He had to know by the time of the Mandalorian. He must know because
well,
I'm sure when
I
he
like
has to
the
get
idea.
permits for his ships and all sorts of like the cops and everything. So he must know by that time.
He's trying to get. He's like, all right, I need some help, and he goes to call Darth Vader, and he's like, he keeps getting they're like, I need to talk to Darth Vader. They're like, okay, hang on. It's like he wants to talk to Darth Vader. Like what? Like he doesn't.
Put him through the voicemail. Put him through the voicemail.
And
They just have a Darth Vader sound box, like.
Yeah.
right, yeah.
I was going to bring
Kinda-
voice
kinda
mailbox
like
you were trying
James
to
Earl
reach is
Jones.
full. Like,
I'm going to bring this one up real quick because the commissioner is in the chat.
Oh,
What's up, Christian?
Oh,
thanks
hey,
for
Christian.
thanks for the question. Sorry if you covered already. Will they explore other aspects of Boba's life in the flashback? I did want to just quickly yell at Christian for nominating me for so many Schmodown awards that are all centered around my losses and nothing
Well,
else. But
one
also,
more.
if you have the chance to vote for the Schmodown awards, vote for Damon so that I win something this season.
the
Just
greatest
anything.
teacher failure is.
Uh-huh.
So.
Yeah. Like which aspects? Of
like
his
like
life?
his childhood or like the Cad Bane. People have speculated, could we do the Cad Bane Boba
I mean,
shootout or something?
If they keep him in his armor, yeah, because like then they wouldn't have to spend money de-aging anyone or using like a younger actor.
It's true.
Yeah, that's a good
So
point.
You know?
yeah, we could see Cad Bane in a flashback and see that whole unfinished arc maybe play out a little bit.
I'm not expecting that unless Cad Bane does come into the story and then they could find a way to do that. I also want to. I'm really liking all the stuff they're doing with Attack of the Clones and like that era. I'm shocked at how much I liked it, but I wouldn't mind if they kept doing that.
Wait, what do you mean?
They just keep like doing
Referring
little
back to
yeah,
Attack of the Clones?
glimpses
Okay.
of Camino,
Yeah.
glimpses of Geonosis, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I love this. Attack of the Clones is my least favorite Star Wars movie, but I'm like, yes, keep doing this. I really like it.
Yeah, it's not
Do you-
because of what it contains, it's just because of how it played out. So if you go back and do with this creative team, go back and do some more stories set there, I would love that.
Let's just bring in the biggest cameo and have a scene for, like between Boba Fett and Darth Vader on Cloud City from Empire. Just the two of them like chit-chatting, having like some kind of conversation because like they're both in helmets. We can just
Yeah.
get those voices in there and make it happen.
And they're just like not talking about anything real. They can figure out that like, wait, you were on Geonosis? I was on Geonosis. That's crazy. Like,
You
That's
have
world,
a guy
huh?
named Kenobi, do you? It's like, oh yeah, I studied with Kenobi.
Dude, I totally hate Mace Window too. They have that in common.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Oh.
I got good news, dude. I threw him out the window. Isn't that funny? His name is
Yeah,
Windu.
I helped
threw
kill
him out
him.
a window.
Oh,
Well,
I do
I was kind of hoping that when he was going on his little vision quest and they were kind of mixing in, I was really hoping we were going to see at least some kind of, either either see Star Wars stuff that he was in, but from his point of view.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like him falling directly into the Sarlacc pit. It's like what it looked like from his point of view, or even showing him flying, taking off, and then being like, ah, you see the tail barge.
Show the Wilhelm scream again.
Yeah, totally. Almost like he has like a cam like on his
oh
helmet.
yeah.
He's a GoPro and his
Yeah,
that's what the
exactly,
little
totally.
antenna is.
Yeah,
You get to see him fly by Luke, force kicking that guy.
totally. Yeah, from the other point, on the other side. So yeah, maybe there's still time. Maybe he'll go on another vision quest to get his. Every time he needs some new piece of equipment, he has to go on a vision. Stick a lizard up his nose and go on a vision quest to get it.
Don't forget that he's still, these are all, even the flashbacks are dreams, so he's just still dreaming about stuff. It doesn't have to go chronologically. He could be like,
Mhm.
Oh yeah,
he could be like, oh, I'm tired, I'm going to the back to, and then it's like, remember that one time, and like go back to showing, some other thing that we've never
Yeah.
seen before.
It's kind of like I thought they were going to do in Force Awakens, where she picks up the lightsaber, then you suddenly are flashing back to all these stuff from the classic, trilogy where the lightsaber was present. So,
Right.
Yeah.
anyway,
There's a lot to be explored there. I don't know what they'll actually show in this show because we do only have 5 more episodes to go, and they seem to have a lot more story to fit in, it seems like. And we still don't know if there's going to be more seasons of this. I assume there will be, but I don't know.
It's likely. I mean, I guess everything depends on numbers. If it was a total failure, but the past 2 weeks at least, it seems like a lot of people. Granted, my timeline is very slanted towards Star Wars people, but it seems like a lot of people are talking about it. It's a buzz discussion thing. It's not like some of the Marvel shows went a little lower under the radar, and this seems like everybody's talking about it again.
Yeah, the merch sales for it's going to be like the Razor Crest. They're going to sell a bunch of Razor Crest merch, and they're going to destroy the Razor Crest. They're going to sell a bunch of Boba Fett merch, and then he's never going to wear the armor again.
That's what people keep saying. Like, no, they're never going to have him put the armor away because of merch. And I'm like, what merch? I mean, they're not selling anything really right now.
Really?
Yeah.
And it's not like there's still plenty of they're not going to ever stop selling Boba Fett stuff.
Right.
So like it's not like if you stop doing it, they're going to say, we can't do merch anymore. I guess no one wants it.
There's only so much you can do with him. It's like he's got a handful of looks.
Yeah. Darth Vader's been dead for 30 years. They're still keeping merching his stuff, his face all over the place. I want it to be one season. I would rather tell a bunch of different stories than just focus on Boba, especially if he's going to be on Tatooine the whole time. Come on. Like I want them to do different series. I want 10 episodes about various people, getting their own show.
Book of Boshek coming up.
Book of Boshek. Go alphabetically. He should be next.
He should, right? One day.
Yeah.
Well, I think if they tell the story, it all depends on the story. If we get to the end of this and I'm like, I was entertained by that every week, and yet I still don't feel like they got to where I want it to be, I would enjoy another season. But if it's, I don't know, if it meanders too much.
Yeah. It feels like what was that show that was on earlier this year?
Earlier this year?
The animated show, not this year, last
Bad
year.
Batch?
The Bad Batch, yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's kind of like a Star Wars show, or just any show that was on this year.
Yeah.
My brain starts to fall apart after doing this for too long. But yeah, it's like the Bad Batch where like I was like, I'm not sure if I want multiple seasons of this, but then I got after like the halfway mark of the season, I was like, okay, I think they have lots more to explore here.
It's just as long as they're not dragging their feet, which right now I don't think they are, but I wouldn't want them to keep doing flashbacks. I kind of hope the flashbacks wrap everything up this season. I don't want it to be like Lost, where it's like we keep flashing back to these people's lives for 3 seasons, and it's like nobody cares at this point. You need to start doing the flash forwards. So I think they'd be all right as long as they don't lean too heavily into the flashback stuff.
Well, I'd like to see him flashback to different stuff every season.
Sure.
Right.
A different era would be cool.
Yeah.
What if we should totally have him flash back to when he tried out that white armor? And he was like, this is weird. What if they broke it up and then this, it's unusual, but it's streaming new rules for Disney Plus and streaming services. What if they had just split it up into, instead of on Wednesdays, we get the Book of Boba Fett. It's an hour long. Half of it is flashback. Half of it is the future. If we got on Tuesdays, we get a half hour of Boba Fett in the present tense. Thursdays, we get a half hour of his flashbacks. And they just keep going like that. 4 episodes of each. Keep going on that way.
That sounds exhausting.
It does, right?
And then people could decide whether they wanted to watch them in release order or watch all the flashback episodes and then watch them chronologically.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh, and they can do like a box set of the 4Ks. And just
Bosk set.
A Bosk set, yes.
Not yet. Book of Bosk, that's later.
Yeah.
Hayden Shapiro with another super chat in question. Do you think past members of Jabba's court could appear in future episodes of the series in the series in Boba's palace? Oh, okay. So
Well,
other
they'll live.
members...
Bring F-Font Man back.
Yeah. Goal is there. Goal.
Which one's Goal?
Gull's the little snail that hangs from the ceiling and tries to lick C-3PO. He didn't go on the sail barge. He's still hanging out there.
Yeah.
Beto, he's
Yeah,
probably
he's
alive
probably
somewhere.
around.
Yeah, I'm hoping for okay. Yeah, let's throw out Droopy McCool. If we already got Max Rebo, Droopy is next on my list. I
They
want him.
refuse to perform together again.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, they had a falling out.
One episode
that's-
should be Boba Fett reintroduce, like teaming, like doing Jerry Lewis, where and Dean
Right.
Martin, where Boba Fett reintroduces Max Rebo to his long companion Droopy McCool, and they finally
honestly,
make up. and
I
they
would
jam
kind of
together.
love it if they had a little subplot just in the background of scenes where you get
Yeah.
to see the band like forming, falling apart. It's just there's a new band member every week
Yeah.
with Max Rebo, and then like someone else gets kicked out. I would love to piece that together.
They should do a behind the music about the Max
Mhm.
Rebo band.
Oh,
Mm.
totally. I would absolutely watch that.
Yeah.
Or like not like a Get Back, not like a multi-hour, just the Rebo sessions.
An 8-hour.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Rebo sessions. Oh,
Yeah, I'm all for that. I think that should happen. Or I like the idea of Boba, like, basically saying like, all right, I'm holding my hand a check for, to reunite the Rebo band.
Nerdy Seb, thanks for the super chat. Just says it's been a long time, can't stay too long, but prediction
Long
is
time.
we'll see Cobb Vanth soon. Keep up the great work. I hope we see
Thank
some
you.
Cobb Vanth.
yeah.
I've switched. I think it's more. I forgot how that episode ended, but I think we'll see him more in the present than the past, because them crossing paths in the past seems less likely to me. It closes the world, makes it smaller now.
Do you think Cobb would be like, hey, I used to wear that? Would he recognize the armor, or does the new paint job give it enough new
Probably.
life?
He would recognize it.
He would recognize it.
He'd
At
be like,
least-
I wore it better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did he?
He's like, I don't like that whole turtleneck thing you got, whatever that is underneath that.
He had the red scarf, which the little
Yeah.
kid Tusken has a red scarf too. So
Mm.
maybe at one point he saw Cobb Vanth in the distance and was like, I'm taking that. That's mine now.
Or at some point in the future that he kills the kid and then takes his
Oh,
bandana
Oh
from him.
God.
Oh,
Mm.
Maybe Cobb Vanth is the one who kills all the Tuskens.
Oh, yeah.
boy.
Look, you made Alex
He doesn't
sick.
like
Look
him.
at-
We know he doesn't like him.
That's
Ruining
true.
Alex's dreams.
I wanted this just reminded me because we were talking about the Tuskens. I forgot that I've been feeling this since we watched the episode, but I hadn't said it, hadn't gotten to articulate it yet. Though I got a real Masters of Terrascasi vibe from this episode, because we've got Gamorreans, we've got Tuskens, we got Wookiees, we got Boba Fett, we've got like we got who's missing there? I guess just all the main characters, but it's an interesting.
Jodo Cast was in it.
Yeah, it was in the game, not in this episode. Unless,
Yeah, yeah.
who knows? Well, will we see a Jodo cast at some point?
They could remake that game at literally any point and tons of people would play it.
I honestly think it would do pretty well.
Yeah,
I do. I keep saying that, like, why haven't they remade that game yet? Like, we need a Star Wars fighting game.
If
Well,
they
like
can do a Shaq
something
Fu
silly.
too, they can do a Terrascasi too.
I think one of the few drawbacks of that game was the kind of you only have this set of characters, but if you make it nowadays you can just keep downloading new characters, keep introducing like, oh hey, guess what, we just introduced Max Rebo to Masters of
Do
Terrascasi
like-
2 and be like, oh
Damn.
Do like a Smash Bros version of like a Star
Totally.
Wars Smash Bros. That'd be so
Yeah.
cool.
I'm for it.
I
wouldn't
gotta
wanna
get up.
deal
You
with-
guys keep talking.
I would not want to deal with the questions that spawned for us about what is and isn't canon.
The
That
game
sounds
is
like,
literally called "This Is Not Canon."
Yeah,
Fight.
okay, great. That would go a long way, I think.
Because then you can mix in everybody. Wait a minute, how are those? How do we have Ray and Jason and Gina in this game? Well,
Jane Dalton, thanks for the question. What kind of creature would you like to see under the throne in the pit when Boba eventually does something with the palace?
I mean, maybe he tames another one of those like four-armed creatures, whatever that the behemoth.
The Goro
Thing.
thing, yeah.
Right.
What else?
I know there's no real way to make it work, but it would be ironic for him to have essentially like a Sarlacc pit underneath the throne.
Oh my
So you
god.
could just be dumping
Ooh.
people into a Sarlacc
Just like
pit.
a slide into it.
Yeah, there you go.
Boba
Maybe
Fett, that seems mean even for him.
Hmm.
Be like, you know
But-
what? I'm gonna just toss everyone else in a Sarlacc pit.
Yeah, I know what it's like.
Yeah, exactly. That's why he's like, I know what this is, so I know exactly what I'm doing to you. So, see you later. Hits the button. Yeah, I can't think of any other. more
Maybe a
fearsome
Vexus,
creatures.
or unless those are native to Pisana.
Yeah, the desert climate.
Yeah, why not?
Or, hey, welcome back, Alex. You like big creatures? What kind of big Star Wars monster would you like Boba Fett to eventually install in the Rancor pit? Now,
I do like big creatures, but I can't think of any good, appropriate ones.
I'm looking behind you. What about a Rathtar?
Oh, you know how we're anti-Raptor. That's the problem, is I can't think of one like a Ray. Oh, maybe like one of those Attack of the Clones creatures, like a Rex
Right.
Nexu or a
Mr.
Next, it would
Ackley.
be fun.
Mr.
Mhm.
Axley. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't
That'd
think
be
of too many
cool.
fearsome creatures. I mean, we have the giant snake in Rise of Skywalker.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Oh, you said that, and I was like, I nodded. I was like, yes, and it's native to Pisana. And then once
Oh,
I didn't even put it together until you said that, and I was like, oh
The-
yes, right, that's what that creature is called.
I only know what it's called because of the trivia stuff.
Right.
You don't have to explain how you picked up any of this useless
They have to explain. That's their
We're all
lot in life. It's their
judging you.
curse.
Oh,
They
that's
have
true,
to
yeah,
explain
that's-
everything.
It's true.
But now it makes sense to me not to just say, "Oh yeah, the Vexus."
No, I mean,
Yeah.
we should, for all intents and purposes, we should probably know that, right? I don't know.
Well, we haven't done Rise. We haven't,
We
seen
haven't
Rise
done
of
that movie
Skywalker
yet, yeah, so we don't know. I don't know what that is.
Who?
I like that you say we haven't seen it yet. And
Right.
I like the idea that you don't watch them until it's time to break them down minute by minute.
No idea. I hear we got 2 left, so one day we'll know what Star Wars is, what this
Finally.
whole thing is all about.
I see Borgullet in the chat. I feel like Tatooine is, well,
Too remote?
Jeddah was pretty
I mean,
dry
yeah,
too.
he was on Jeddah.
I thought you meant like Borgullet was in the chat, like asking questions.
Oh.
Oh,
Borgullet in the chat says, "Me please."
Yeah.
Brett Baumler, thanks for a question. So perhaps Boba will be the Talon card figure in this loose adaptation of the Thrawn trilogy that these Favreau shows seem to be building to. I have thrown that out as speculation. Based on the show so far, I'm thinking it's unlikely, but it's still possible that he would basically be the head of the scum and villainy faction that helps fight against Thrawn in the end.
Right.
But I don't know. That's just not really the vibe I'm getting from this series yet.
Well, you could, it could be like a time bomb of sorts, or a thermal detonator, or whatever, where you set it up. At the end of this, you have him like he's firmly established as like, hey, and I got my crew of guys here. Here's all the rogues, and Fennec's here. We got everybody. We got all these scum and villainy together, and then close the show, let it sit, build on the other ones. You get to actually do like a Thrawn. Introduce Thrawn, maybe with the Ahsoka, and keep going on that way. Do a Thrawn storyline, and then have him show up. Like 2 years later, have his crew show up as part of that. So don't do it within this, but save it for that later. That's like a time bomb.
I like
Yeah.
that.
Or a slow fuse.
A family fuse.
Next up, we've got a super chat from Ice. Loved the episode. It's so cool that the Hutts are in the story. I agree. I was very excited to see Hutts. BK was a great surprise, and I love how Tim gets to incorporate his culture into Boba.
Yeah.
I love all the Maori stuff that they're getting to do with him, which they wouldn't have really been able to do if they had wanted to do what they did in The Mandalorian with Boba Fett. Like, they wouldn't have really gotten a chance to dive into this kind of stuff.
Although he
But
did,
they might have
yeah,
if they kept
potentially.
Tim on.
That's true. If it
Maybe.
depends on how they could have. Depends on how they went with that.
I wonder if the Mandalorian culture would have been more like Maori warrior culture, where it's
Right.
they would have their own different rules and stuff. That
Yeah, I mean that
they
could
wound
make
up having.
sense too,
Yeah.
for sure.
It is the
And
way.
I feel like we came off as negative about the huts before. That we said, they looked a little off, but it's the best huts that we've seen since Jabba.
Well,
since
I
the
just like
original,
that they
since
did it. But it was
1983,
two
but-
huts
Oh,
that
yeah.
are on a litter.
Yeah,
It just
it's cool.
I
it's a
love
cool
having
thing.
huts back.
We
Yeah.
have to nitpick, but it is a cool thing.
Last time we saw huts in a film was that
Phantom Menace?
That's what I was gonna say.
Clone Wars movie.
Clone Wars movie.
Okay,
Oh,
well.
all
Sure.
You can never bring up the Clone Wars movie without people being like, "Oh yeah, I can."
Technically, I
Fine.
guess you're
Don't
right.
forget about the Clone Wars movie.
Kyle Beckworth, thanks for the super chat. I don't know how, but I'd like to see Chewbacca versus Black Chrysanthemum. That would be epic. I'm loving the book report. Thanks, Kyle.
Thank you.
Read the Star Wars comic issue like 18, somewhere in that area. The 2015 comic. So it's not on screen, obviously, but Chewbacca and Black Chrysanthemum have fought each other.
And buy our video game when it comes out, Masters of Terrascasi 2
Yeah.
online.
This
version.
is Masters of Terrascasi 2. This is not canon.
Right.
That's got to be in the title. or
Absolutely.
else-
Legends edition.
Oh, I was close. 15. Okay.
All right.
I'm surprised I was that close, actually.
Yeah.
Nice. Casey with another super chat here. Not sure what Sand People can't, but the Tuscan. Is that
Oh.
I think maybe they're
Is it a
saying
pun?
we're not
Sand
calling
people
them
can't, but the Tusk can.
Sand. Oh, maybe. Well, they didn't spell it with a CA. I don't know.
All right.
Maybe
I
they're
think
saying
I think
we
you're
don't
right,
call
actually.
them. Oh,
I think Pete might be right that was just an autocorrect.
could be.
Magnet, thank you for the super chat. I honestly hope they also explain what's going around in the surrounding galaxy a little bit. I believe this is 9 or 10 years after the Battle of Yavin. Would be cool to know. Yeah, I think this is the personal story of Boba Fett. I don't think they're doing a whole lot outside of the galaxy, at least now. If it follows the trend of most Star Wars shows, then season 2, if it gets a season 2, is going to be a lot bigger and will involve the larger universe. But I think season 1's probably going to be pretty much all on Tatooine. I was hoping it wouldn't do that, but after these 2 episodes, I've kind of just assumed that's going to be what happens. Except some of the flashbacks, they might get the slave one and go off to Tython or something.
And that's what I mean. Like, do you think in the flashbacks it would be more likely to, or in the current stuff you'd be more likely to leave planet and then come back? Like,
I guess I'm thinking flashbacks right now.
yeah.
Yeah.
Where is Slave One at this point?
I think
I
we're
think
gonna
it's-
find out in the next episode or 2.
It's still in Jabba's palace. The trailers have shown them like getting back to it and stealing it from Jabba's hangar.
So for 6 years, it's been sitting outside Jabba's palace. No Jawas came and pilfered it or
It's
stripped it for
inside Jabba's
parts.
palace. I don't know
It's
that means
inside.
security
He
is
gets-
great, but
He gets to park in the garage, not in the outside lot.
uh-huh.
Yeah, I still think it wouldn't be there after 6 years, but we'll see.
It's a pretty sweet ride.
That's why it wouldn't be there because someone else would steal it.
Or it would have been impounded.
It's got a
everybody
boot
could have
on
taken
it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, maybe they're
totally.
stealing it from an impound lot. Maybe they're doing. Then we saw that in Solo already. so
Yeah.
they've used up all the stories already.
Brett Baumler with another super chat. The big cameo this season is Jackson. He will save Boba and get his own spinoff.
Aw.
If that happens, if Jackson shows up, I will demand. I'll message Kevin Scott and be like, "You have to come on our show and talk to us." Like, I don't know anyone that loves Jackson as much as him, but
I thought you were gonna say I don't know anyone who loves Jackson.
Right.
except for
Period.
him,
Except for
he's the one weirdo.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking. I said that maybe the second kind of part of Boba's, after he leaves, if all the Tuskens are dead, perhaps he moves on to the second part of his story. It might be a kind of getting a little gang together to go do a mission, much like the Beyond the Movie, Beyond the Galaxy. The first couple of issues of the Marvel Star Wars comic after the movie ended, which introduced Jackson and Alex's favorite Hedgie, Haji. Hedgie.
Like
Hedgie.
Hedgehog.
Hedgie. Could be that kind of a story where he, gets a gang together to go, right some wrong somewhere.
Jackson, Cad Bane, Thrawn,
There you go.
Mara Jade,
Mhm.
and Splinter of the Mind's Eye. Do people still want Mara Jade? Are people still clamoring for Mara Jade?
Oh yeah.
Or is that ship sailed?
We get asked about it a lot, and I don't
Some
really see a
people.
way that it's going to work. At least not in the way it did.
Unless they
No.
like Spider-Verse it and then have like the other alternate Luke where we see, what would have happened.
Right.
Jason Solo.
Well,
Jason Solo.
We get that. Speaking of alternate Luke, we had Cammy there remember the vision from the beginning of the
Mhm.
Last Jedi novelization.
Yeah.
It's almost like Fixer's living out that life.
Yeah.
Just hung out, stayed on the planet.
Hitman Hudson sent in 2 super chats. Thank you. One, do you think we'll get more about Django? And second, still waiting excitedly for Rael Averross's television debut. 95-year-old Rael should have been the Jedi at the end of Mando season 2. Shake my head. Rael is a cool Jedi, but
Yeah.
yeah, he'd be 95 if he survived Order 66.
95.
He'd be super senile and just like crazy by now.
You don't
But
think they
that
can
does-
Bacta put him to Bacta? Do humans in Star Wars have the same lifespan as us?
I assume so, but I don't know that we've ever been explicitly told that.
Yeah,
That might explain why people look older, because they only live to a shorter time, which is why Obi-Wan looks so much older than Ewan McGregor. in
Oh,
Star
you
Wars.
think they have shorter lifespans?
Shorter
I was assuming you
lifespans.
meant longer.
No, shorter life.
Yeah, that's why. Those are all. We can blame it on the twin sons of Tatooine. but
I am
it's
trying
really
to
just
think of,
they only lived
who's
for
the
like 50 years.
who's the oldest besides like Yoda? Who's the oldest human to have died? Has any human died of old age in Star Wars?
Not that
I guess not that we've
Died
seen.
of
Those are kind of
old age.
anticlimactic deaths. So people tend to die by violent means.
Right.
Yeah.
There has to have been somebody.
I mean, Mari Senteca was technically human, but she was being kept alive by machines.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
was also in High Republic books.
People are in our line of work. They don't die of old age.
Yeah.
What's that from?
I don't know. What is that?
I feel like that's
Is that Blade Runner?
No. In a
The
crime
A-Team?
movie. Or something. The A-Team. You
Bring
are
back the
called back
A-Team.
to the people our age don't die of age, fool.
That's MacGruber for sure. Oh, and then what do we think we'll get more Django? I don't think so.
I wouldn't be surprised. But
Like a quick little flashback of just
Because they could show him wearing the helmet, so you could easily do a scene where you have that kid who's playing young Boba could totally be with stuntman wearing armor.
mhm.
Yeah,
So.
true. Oh, Hitman Hudson said maybe Mon Mothma? Is that someone who died of old age?
I'm trying to
Oh.
remember if that's confirmed or not. I know she was sick at one point in Bloodline. I can't remember. I can't remember if
mean,
we heard about her dying.
Stress probably had a lot to do with her death. She had a lot of stress in her life.
I remember she was alive in the Bloodline book.
How old is she in Return of the Jedi?
Like 50.
50. So she could be in Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, I don't think we've heard about her death yet.
Mon Mothma hires Boba Fett to kill to kill Akbar.
Mm.
I was just looking. I'm trying to think of old people from Star Wars. I'm like, in the background, I looked up Jira from Phantom Menace. I was like, does she die in anything? No,
Aw.
no. She's just
She
last
dies
we heard.
peacefully in Legends. Okay.
Mom
Does
Opera.
who's the guy at the beginning of he dies at the beginning of Force Awakens, right? The old guy, the
Lord
Yeah,
Senseca?
he gets
Lord
cut in
Senseca.
half
yeah, it's-
peacefully in his sleep.
Right. After screaming in agony from being cut in half, then eventually he
Kylo
falls
Ren
asleep
almost
and
died
goes-
in his sleep. That's
That's true. Yeah. Not when he was old though.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I guess Yoda's the only one we see die of old age.
Hmm.
We assume it's old age that he died from, as opposed to like
Yeah, I don't even know.
He just gave up.
a heart attack.
Really,
Lost the will to live.
bitten by one
Yeah.
of those snakes. Yeah, he lost the will.
Bit by a snake.
Luke is so
That's how it
boring.
goes
He
out.
was like, I'd rather die than talk to you anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Well, he did. He asked him, like, is Darth Vader my father? And he's like, guess I'll die.
It's a new
Okay,
Jedi
bye.
power. Jedi die.
Force die. Rain Man, thank you for the super chat in question. So at this point, we need to have Max Rebo appear in every episode, or do I riot? No, I'm not going to riot. I'm blessed to have had him in the first episode. I was expecting maybe we would see him. I wasn't even expecting we'd see him.
Because we
I'm
all
just
assumed he
thrilled
was
that we
dead.
got him. I was kind
That's
of
true,
like
yeah.
hoping that they would show him somewhere and just be like, he didn't die, and we'd nerd out about it. I was not expecting him to be prominently featured in 2 episodes.
I wonder if we'll ever see a Max Rebo album. Like will Boba Fett be flipping through his records and he'll pull up a Max Rebo some jizz.
records.
Yeah. I mean, as long as we keep going to that sanctuary place, I think we'll keep seeing him.
Yeah.
I hope so.
He's there all the time.
Yeah.
I kind of do though. Now, once you mentioned it, it would be neat to see a, even if it's just a little, short internet film. Somebody can do this, right? Right? Somebody can do this. Do the Boba Fett reveal, but with Max Rebo, just same thing. Show like the sail barge explodes. You show the sand, and then just like boom, there's Max Rebo's like chunky little sausage fingers coming out of the sand.
Robot Chicken did something
although
similar.
Did they? Oh,
Yeah.
they always beat us to the good jokes.
Mhm.
Although aren't those his toes technically? Do we have resolution on that still?
Oh, yeah.
Pablo
Does
Hidalgo
the new
did tweet
puppet-
that the new puppet has 2 feet and no arms.
All right, so there we go. Well, he's got flippers, right? The ears are his flippers. That was what I thought it was supposed to be, like penguin style.
Does that make our Funko Pop worth more because it's got arms and legs?
It's
Oh, I got
anatomically
my action
incorrect.
figure here. Yeah,
Look at his little
Oh.
diaper.
little diaper. They're like, we don't know what he looks like under that
Yeah,
piano.
let's just give him a diaper.
Yeah.
Just like BK.
Yeah. Batman is my dad has the next 2 super chats.
Hmm.
Thank you. Alex, do you think the small tree next to Boba's represents Omega? And I'm in love with the female Tusken. They're becoming my favorite species.
I like that little headcanon of like a hint that he has more family that he doesn't know about, maybe. That's what the other tree is.
Yeah,
That's fun.
Yeah. I like that.
and I definitely support the she. Like I said, she's the new Boba Fett, the lady
The
Tusken warrior.
The warrior Tusken. Yeah, she's pretty badass.
She's great. Molly was very scared that she was going to die on the train.
I know. I was
No,
like,
she took over. Even better, but she will die probably.
Well, she was being so badass. It was like, oh no, like this is too good. You're going to get killed.
Yeah.
And our last super chat here before we wrap up is from Star Wars 1995. Literally no one online is talking about the actor who's playing Black Chrysanthemum, though he is trending. It's driving me insane. I think it's Carrie Jones. I had no idea who was
pulled up, but I don't see.
That's strange that the person assumed everyone would be talking about the actor who played BK. I don't remember ever
think they
knowing
were-
any of the actors who played any of the Wookiees in any of the films.
Oh, this is a new era. No, we all know about everybody.
I
don't
don't
think
see
I
them.
Why
saw-
single out him and not? Oh, we don't know the name of the anyway.
Yeah, I don't see them listed on IMDb
Yeah.
right now.
Wikipedia has it as Carrie Jones, but again, it told me who jibs were canon a minute ago. So
Chrysanthemum is not listed in the credits, so that's
right.
why I haven't been talking about it, because I have no idea who plays him. But if it's Carrie Jones, good for Carrie.
They were very tall and very intimidating. So good job.
Now, I forgive my ignorance, but who is Carrie Jones? You guys sound like you're familiar with him. Oh, okay.
No idea.
I don't know.
I mean, everyone's talking about him.
A modern
Literally no one is
creature actor.
talking about.
Okay, that makes me feel better. I thought I was like, oh, I don't even. Is this a rapper or something I don't know about?
Apparently, so he's the. Let's see. He's been in some stuff as a creature kind of guy. If this is the one that I'm thinking of, let's say.
Okay.
Yeah, it's from like Walking Dead and Predators and stuff like that. He's like a creature actor in that capacity.
Cool.
It's like
And
a
working in the
Doug
makeup
Jones.
department. So yeah, essentially.
Well, good for him.
Right on. All right, we have been going for almost 2.5 hours. And oh man, and then Alex Franco, thank you. Just snuck one into the wire. Thank you for another super chat, Alex. I think the Tuskens will die and the kid will survive holding his dad's helmet like young Boba. God, that's terrible. It's like poetry, it rhymes. Might be in a situation where he wished he had more power like his armor. I do think, there's got to be something that drives him back to get the armor. And I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I don't know.
But the loss of the Tuskens feels like it could be a good driving force.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, what's up, Ken?
Hey, more hours. Come on, Ken. I got to eat dinner or something. Why are you trying to keep us? I'm enjoying this fully, but it's 2.5 hours. That's not enough for you?
Yeah.
Plus the hour we spent talking about it.
Yeah, I've been doing this all day. I can do this all day. Is that what I'm supposed to say?
Mm-hmm.
That's Marvel. We don't do that here.
Yeah, exactly.
Wrong show.
We have a blood feud with Marvel. Well, Pete, Alex, thank you so much for joining us for such a long time to talk about the episode. Where can people find you and follow you online?
Well, our show is Star Wars Minute, where we go through the Star Wars movies 1 minute at a time. You can go to StarWarsMinute.com or wherever podcasts are downloadable, and we're on YouTube as well.
Yeah. Since everybody forced us to be inside, we've been doing it over Zoom last season, and our Book of Boba Fett show are all on YouTube now. So StarWarsMinute.com/YouTube, and we're both. We got a new season covering Solo coming out later this year. Solo. A Star Wars story.
Awesome. It's a super fun podcast, and I've got it linked down in the description. So everyone go check them out if you haven't already. But that's it. I'm tired. I'm going to.
All right.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having us on,
I think
guys.
it's time to wrap this episode up and just we can talk about it for the next couple of days with everybody else until the next one.
Star Wars 1995 wants me to know that Carrie Jones is listed in the end credits. Well,
okay. Well, yeah.
I will look again.
In the end credits.
Maybe he's just like Wookiee soldier.
Yeah, maybe.
We're also featuring.
Thanks again for joining us, Alex and Pete. Thank you all for watching along and for your questions and super chats. Helps us keep this show going. But we will see you next week to talk about episode 3. Bye.
Bye.